the Interstellar Mecha cook. Greetings, fellow multiversal adventurers. It's an honor to have you back in this saga that has us all hooked. Official channel statement: this story is 100% epic fiction, so please don't attempt real magic. The results aren't guaranteed and insurance won't cover it. The rights to this masterpiece belong entirely to its brilliant original author. We are just a barge sharing it with you. Do you want to keep being part of this amazing community? Join our ninja army of subscribers on YouTube and give this content a like. And for true fans, our Patreon has exclusive ninjutsu waiting for you. Chapter 351 Lin Yin. Yi Hongwen kept his word. In the afternoon, he found someone to replace Lin Miaomiao to watch the opening ceremony, and asked her to stay with the captain to have a good rest. He would return to the base in the evening to give him a reward. Although he was a little nervous about the reward he would ask for from someone in the evening, the bored Lin Miaomiao still enjoyed this leisurely afternoon. He took a nap in the room first, and after he had enough energy, he prepared to go to the cafeteria to make himself some snacks. When he walked to the kitchen door, he saw a thin boy wandering there, who seemed to want to go in but didn't dare. The boy looked young. Lin Miaomiao didn't know him, but he felt inexplicably familiar, and wondered why he was on the ship. At this time, the ship's door should be closed and no outsiders could get up. "Who are you? Why are you on the ship?" Lin Miaomiao asked. The boy hadn't expected anyone to arrive at the cafeteria at this hour. He was startled by Lin Miaomiao's sudden voice. Once he saw who it was, he timidly said, "I'm Lin Yin. Uncle Zhao asked me to learn to fly a warship from him." So, Lin Miaomiao then remembered that this was indeed the case. During that rescue mission, Luo Cheng had rescued a young man from the crumbling phantom crystal. The young man had been forced into a pirate group. Because he was young and hadn't done anything wrong, the fleet, to reward him for his merit, spared him prison and even took on the task of eliminating the remaining pirates. The young man was no longer in prison, but he had nowhere else to go. He had lived in the pirate group for over a decade and had no recollection of his life, only that his mother, whom he depended on for survival, had been killed by the pirates. Yi Hongwen and the others had originally wanted to send him to an orphanage, but orphans had to leave at 18, and Lin Yin was already 15. He had never attended formal school and couldn't possibly learn everything he needed to in 3 years. He wouldn't be able to support himself well after that, so he begged to stay. Luo Cheng relented and went to see the boss. Yi Hongwen, believing Shen Yu could afford to raise a child, agreed and arranged a dormitory for him. He also provided him with a standard communicator and a StarNet cabin, allowing him to concentrate on his StarNet tutoring. When he tired of studying, he could go to the training room in the afternoons. Lin Yin, however, felt uneasy, feeling uneasy about being idle and unemployed, so he strongly requested a job. Luo Cheng assigned him a job as an errand runner, until Zhao Cheng accidentally discovered that he had a talent for piloting warships. Knowing he was one of them, Lin Miaomiao lowered her guard and asked bluntly, "Are you hungry?" "You came to the kitchen." Lin Yin nodded sheepishly, blushing softly, explaining, "I had a StarNet class at noon today and forgot to eat." Lin Miaomiao understood this well. She had been like this since she first crossed over, neglecting sleep and food to make up for the lessons, skipping meals. It was only when graduation was almost over that she finally relaxed. Because she felt the same way, Lin Miaomiao's tone of voice became more gentle. "Let's go in and find you something to eat." The two of them entered the kitchen. Shen Yu was not there, and the two stupid robots were huddled in the corner. They moved when they saw someone coming in. But when they saw that it was Lin Miaomiao, they returned to a static state. If there was no order, they would stay there. Lin Miaomiao rummaged in the refrigerator for a long time, but only found a small bowl of white rice. She didn't find any leftovers. She turned her head and said to Lin Yin, who was looking at her eagerly, "There's no food left. Find a place to sit for a while. I'll make you some fried rice, no need to trouble you." Lin Yin shook his head repeatedly. "I can eat white rice, it's okay, it will be quick." White rice is not as delicious as fried rice. Lin Miaomiao took a bowl and filled it with a large bowl of rice. She also took 2 eggs and went to the energy stove, cleaned the pot and turned on the fire. Lin Yin opened his mouth to say that plain rice was better than nothing, but he held it back. He simply stood in a corner, waiting, his head bowed and tears welling in his eyes. Aside from his mother, no one had ever been so kind to him. It wasn't that Luo Cheng, Zhao Cheng, and the others were mean to him, but rather that they were all grown men with thick skins, completely unaware of the concept of saying one thing and thinking another. When asked if Lin Yin had any difficulties, if he said no, they'd take it as a given and leave him alone. A few minutes later, the fragrant egg fried rice arrived on a plate. Lin Miaomiao beckoned Lin Yin to take it away, then asked Shay to come and wash the pot. She then went to the fryer to make some snacks like fries and popcorn chicken. After taking out a bag of popcorn chicken and fries, Lin Miaomiao glanced at the boy at the table by the restaurant door, devouring the egg fried rice with such sweetness that she felt a strange sense of familiarity. Thinking he probably didn't have much to snack on, she took out a few pairs of chicken wings and drumsticks. The oil was hot, and she put the chicken wings and chicken legs into the pan to fry. When they were almost cooked, Lin Yin came in with an empty plate and said shyly, "I'll wash the dishes, put them on the chopping board and let Shay wash them." Lin Miaomiao called him, "Come over here." Lin Yin hesitated for a moment, put the plates down as he was told, walked over, and asked softly, "Manager Lin, is there anything I can help you with?" Lin Miaomiao felt a little awkward. Although she was only 4 or 5 years older than him, she was really not used to being called that by an underage kid, so she asked awkwardly, "Can you call me Sister Lin, or Sister Miaomiao?" Lin Yudang's eyes widened and he was so excited that he was a little incoherent. "Really? Can I really call you that? Why not?" Lin Miaomiao looked at him puzzledly. "It was normal to call someone older than you Sister Lin," Lin Yudang shouted loudly. "Hey," Lin Miaomiao responded, thinking that fortunately no one called her Sister Lin, otherwise someone would definitely be jealous. It took her a while to come back to her senses, and she took out the chicken legs and wings, turned down the thermometer, and put the French fries and popcorn chicken in. After draining the oil from the chicken legs and wings, she took out a small insulated lunchbox and put them in and handed it to Lin Yin, who was standing upright next to her. "Take these back, and eat them directly if you are hungry at night. They smell so good," Lin Yin thought, but swallowed his saliva and put his hands behind his back. "No. I can't have them, I'm full." Lin Miaomiao didn't persuade him, but said to him quietly, "If you don't want them, I will be angry, and you are not allowed to call me sister anymore." Lin Yudang opened his mouth wide, then snatched a lunchbox at the speed of light, stammering, "I want it." "Sister Lin, you can't go back on your word. Wouldn't it be better if she did this earlier?" Lin Miaomiao pouted and continued to fry French fries, not even looking at the pitiful Lin Yudang holding the lunchbox. After the French fries and popcorn chicken were out of the pot, Lin Miaomiao turned off the fryer, controlled the oil and put the snacks on a plate. Then she waved at him mercifully and said, "Let's go, let's sit outside and eat something delicious." This time Lin Yudang didn't dare to refuse, and followed her out of the cafeteria. Chapter 352 1v1 Preliminary Round. The ranking tournament consisted of 2 parts. The first was the individual competition, and the second was the team competition. The first was the individual competition, the 1v1 preliminary round. Since it was held online, they rushed to the military headquarters virtual landing room early the next morning. Because there were so many people, all the login devices couldn't be placed in one room, so they were split up into 100 rooms. Each fleet's competitors logged in together in one room, and rooms were assigned on a first-come, first-served basis. Shen Yu arrived late and was assigned to room A on the 47th floor. After all the competitors entered, Yi Hongwen locked the door and dragged Lin Miaomiao to occupy the 2 beds in the corner of the last row, childishly placing them side by side against the wall. "Lin Miaomiao, I don't know anyone so childish. Who switched Yi Bingshan? Return him." The other team members, they're always showing off their affection, blinding the singles. "I want to rush over and beat up that couple." Of course, some, like Yu Zixin, thought this was a good way to show affection and followed suit, occupying another corner. By the time everyone settled into their beds and logged onto the virtual network, the beds had been moved about in a chaotic manner. Lin Miaomiao realized that although their fleet wasn't large, there were quite a few couples. Among the 201 people, there were 5 or 6 couples, not counting Ren Jiao, who was left alone because her eldest brother wasn't participating. Lin Miaomiao didn't have time to dwell on these gossips for long, as her first battle was about to begin. The advantage of virtual competitions is that there's no need to waste time drawing lots. Once the timer runs out, registered players are assigned opponents by the system and automatically transferred to the corresponding battle room. After the referee called start and she pressed the automatic assignment button, Lin Miaomiao saw a line of golden letters flash before her eyes. 1v1 Preliminary Round 1, Level 4 Mecha Master Lin Miaomiao vs Level 4 Mecha Master Liu Feng. The writing paused for about 10 seconds, and Lin Miaomiao was instantly plunged into darkness. When it returned to light, she was in a spacious room, facing a handsome man. "Hello, I'm Liu Feng," the handsome man greeted with a warm smile. "It's Zhu." Liu Feng paused before he could finish his words. Lin Miaomiao had summoned her own mech the instant he spoke. As the silver-white mech appeared, she activated it and darted into the cockpit, guided by a beam. Before he could finish his introduction, Liu Feng felt frustrated. His opponent was so beautiful and aloof, she didn't even bother to talk to him. What should he do? Waiting online, urgent. Experienced after all, even though his opponent got into his mech first, Liu Feng remained calm. He calmly summoned his mech and dove in. The moment his mech's hatch closed, Lin Miaomiao opened fire without hesitation. Although they were using their own mechas, their energy was limited. No matter the level of the mech, it had a level 5 energy card. Once it ran out, they were ready to be beaten. So Lin Miaomiao decided to be shameless, ignoring her opponent's long-winded self-introduction and striking first. If it weren't for the fact that she couldn't attack someone who wasn't already in a mech, she wouldn't even wait for her opponent to get in one. Even with Liu Feng's quick reflexes, he couldn't dodge the first blow. To avoid the embarrassment of being eliminated right from the start, he decisively raised his mech's left arm to block the incoming attack. As his left arm was shattered, he used the force of the explosion to move to the right. Seeing this, Lin Miaomiao followed without hesitation. Due to insufficient energy, neither of them considered engaging in a direct exchange of blows. Instead, they engaged in close combat with cold weapons. A flurry of blows erupted, with the two mechas exchanging dozens of blows in a flash. "Beautiful lady, don't be so aggressive. Can't we just sit down and chat and exchange some feelings?" Liu Feng teased as he fought, turning on the external speaker. But while he spoke, his offensive never slackened. Even with only one arm left, the black mech remained undeterred, wielding its greatsword with skillful agility, attacking Aoxa from all angles. Lin Miaomiao gritted her teeth. She seemed unlucky. The opponent she met in the first round was a formidable opponent, not only eloquent but also skilled in combat. Logically, she had a strong start and should have had the upper hand, but now it seemed the opponent was determined to wear her down in a protracted battle. Although the match had no time limit, Lin Miaomiao had no interest in a protracted battle. Besides, if the fight continued like this, she would only suffer. So, she dodged the black mech's greatsword while fiercely counterattacking with her broadsword, her eyes constantly searching for an opportunity to fire. After dodging several attacks from the one-armed mech, Lin Miaomiao gradually calmed down. Throwing aside her nervousness and excitement, she advanced instead, launching an intensive attack. Aoxa consumed more energy than ordinary mechas, leaving her at a disadvantage in a protracted battle. She might as well take a chance. It didn't take long for her to find her opportunity. As the black mech ducked to avoid the broadsword, Lin Miaomiao directed Aoxa to slash at its legs. When it instinctively leaped upward, she immediately launched a full-force attack into its nacelle. Liu Feng hadn't anticipated Lin Miaomiao's risky move, using the energy-intensive hypersonic quantum cannon. For them, energy was conserved for critical moments, especially when energy cards were severely scarce. They wouldn't resort to energy-intensive thermal weapons when neither side was seriously damaged. In their haste, they had no time to dodge and were struck. After Liu Feng's mecha cabin was hit, the black mecha froze in place, then slowly disintegrated and melted before Lin Miaomiao. A few seconds later, the word victory appeared before her eyes. After a flash of white light, the battle room vanished, and she reappeared in the player waiting area. Aoxa had automatically retracted her system backpack. She had to find an open space to retrieve it and restore the data. Although the damage was minor, Lin Miaomiao was not taking it lightly, as the energy card also needed to be restored. Glancing around, Lin Miaomiao spotted several mechas being restored in the corner. Seeing that there were indeed few people there, she went over and released Aoxa. After paying for the restoration, she stood idly by and waited. Liu Feng, who had come to the corner to recreate the scene first, had his eyes lit up. He came over and said enthusiastically, "Beauty, are you coming to recreate the scene too?" Lin Miaomiao gave him a disdainful look. It was so obvious that there was no need to ask, but considering that he was defeated, she kindly replied, "Nonsense." Liu Feng touched his nose. His face did not show the dejection after losing the game. He still smiled brightly. "I was shocked by the military's restoration fee. They charge 500 credit points for one restoration. If it weren't for the team competition and the mecha, I would have wanted to go back and recreate it. 500 credit points?" Lin Miaomiao gave him a surprised look and said hesitantly, "They only charged me 20 credit points." Liu Feng, could it be that the restoration fee is still based on appearance? Chapter 353 Future Father-in-Law. "Sorry," Lin Miaomiao said politely to Liu Feng, "I have something else to do, so I have to leave first." Her morning competition was over, and Lin Miaomiao restored her Aoksu persona and prepared to shake off the chatterbox Liu Feng and leave. "Leaving now? Won't you chat for a while?" Liu Feng looked at her reluctantly. The girl was quite good-looking, and although she was aloof, she was not too difficult to get along with. The most important thing was that she was already a 4th-level mecha master at such a young age. If he could get her to be his girlfriend, he would make a fortune. Lin Miaomiao didn't know what he was thinking, and just thought that she liked making friends, so she said helplessly, "I don't know you well, there's nothing to talk about." After saying that, she was too lazy to pay attention to this chatterbox anymore, and turned to leave, but she didn't expect Liu Feng to be so shameless that he dodged and blocked her way. "Don't say that. You should make more friends when you're out and about," Liu Feng said with a smile. "I'm easy to talk to. You'll know after spending a few times with me." This was like someone trying to force a win. Lin Miaomiao's eyes flashed with a fierceness, her fist itching to strike the unsightly face before her. She wasn't as pleasant as her boyfriend, yet he insisted on being her friend. It was simply unforgivable. Just as her fist was about to strike out, her pleasant boyfriend, having heard the news of her victory, came to pick her up. Seeing her chit-chat from afar, his face instantly darkened. "Miaomiao, what are you still doing here after the competition?" Yi Hongwen's voice was neither too loud nor too low, but strangely captivating. At least half the people in the waiting area turned their gazes towards him. "Wow, so handsome." Wearing a white military uniform, and a captain, one girl looked at him with twinkling eyes. "I wonder if my chances of striking up a conversation are good." "Let go of the captain and let me do it." The more outgoing girl was already making a beeline for Yi Hongwen, hoping to bump into him. Yi Hongwen frowned at the group of infatuated fans, then quickly turned away and headed straight for his girlfriend. "Why are you here?" "I was just about to come look for you." Lin Miaomiao turned to look at him. "Don't you have anything to do? Your match is over, so I came to pick you up," Yi Hongwen said calmly. "Matches are random, and the system automatically records the results and notifies us. However, even if the system notified him, he wouldn't receive it if he wasn't online. He couldn't leave the virtual network until all the Shen Yu team members' matches were over. That's why he came to catch them, fearing someone would abandon him after the match and head back to the Shen Yu. Although the Shen Yu's doors were closed, getting in would be easy with a video call, as there was always a pilot on duty in the cockpit. Lin Miaomiao felt a little embarrassed when her thoughts were guessed. It seemed a bit unkind to abandon her boyfriend and leave, so she took his hand. "I'll wait with you for news." "What about him? Are you done talking?" Yi Hongwen glanced at Liu Feng, who had been stunned since he appeared. Lin Miaomiao stole a glance at him, perceptive enough to detect his displeasure. She immediately decided not to give the stranger face. "Hey, this stranger, he insisted on being my friend after the competition. I refused, but he wouldn't let me go." She was only telling the truth, not lying, and it wasn't like she was being unfair to Liu Feng, Lin Miaomiao thought to herself. "So that's how it is," Yi Hongwen said, understanding. He turned to Liu Feng and said, "I wonder why you want to be friends with my wife." Liu Feng was stunned and hurriedly explained, "I want to get to know her because I think she's skilled. If she doesn't want to, I won't force her." Whatever thoughts he had had earlier, those were completely extinguished upon learning that the cool and beautiful girl was taken, especially one who wasn't easy to mess with. Yi Hongwen nodded in satisfaction. "In that case, I'll take her away first." With her boyfriend's support, Lin Miaomiao's departure went smoothly. Liu Feng could only watch her retreat, beating his chest inwardly, lamenting, how could such a beautiful girl already be taken? The fleet leaders, referees, judges, and guests were all waiting in the same lounge for news. Yi Hongwen's entrance with Lin Miaomiao immediately drew a chorus of attention. He's actually picking up his girlfriend during a competition and brazenly bringing her to the lounge. He's incredibly clueless and doesn't seem capable of achieving anything great, was the assessment of most of the fleet captains. The next moment, they felt slapped in the face, because after the girl entered, the stern Marshal Ren actually smiled and waved affably. Miaomiao, are you done with your competition? Come sit here, uncle. Yi Zhengyang, who had been waiting patiently for his son and his future daughter-in-law, was furious. Marshal Ren, there aren't any seats for them there. It's better to come to mine. Of course not. There are plenty of empty seats here, Ren Yaohu said, playing dumb. He had to build a good relationship with his daughter's future sister-in-law. As a devoted father, he had to put his status aside. But she's from our Yi family, Yi Zhengyang bluntly revealed, disregarding his pride. I haven't even met my future daughter-in-law yet. Yi Zhengyang's words caused a stir. Aside from a few marshals and several captains, most were unaware that Captain Qinglong and Captain Shen Yu were father and son, and they all lamented the impeccable secrecy. He Xingming's eyes blazed with anger. He had already agreed with several captains in the fleet to work together to eliminate Shen Yu during the team competition and suppress the young and reckless Captain Yi Hongwen. Unexpectedly, Yi Zhengyang had revealed their father-son relationship at this very moment. Feeling the sullen gazes from the captains he had persuaded, He Xingming had a bad feeling. He might have lost more than he gained. Another person who felt completely down was Liu Wan. He hadn't gone out of his way to cause trouble for Shen Yu, but he regretted making their relationship so strained the last time. If he had apologized then, they would have had an excuse to interact with each other, and his daughter would have had a chance to get closer to Yi Hongwen. As for the future daughter-in-law that Yi Zhengyang had acknowledged, Liu Wan didn't take her seriously. After all, she could change wives, let alone someone who hadn't even officially met the parents yet. Everyone had their own thoughts, but Yi Zhengyang didn't care. He could hide his son, but not his daughter-in-law. He was still looking forward to having a grandson soon. However, his future daughter-in-law was too young, so he might have to wait a few more years. Miaomiao. I'll take you to meet my dad, Yi Hongwen whispered to Lin Miaomiao. Don't be nervous, he only looks fierce, but he's actually a paper tiger. You didn't even remind me. If I had known, I wouldn't have come with you, Lin Miaomiao said, almost crying. He should have told her about meeting the parents earlier. She wasn't ready. The meeting was too hasty, and even the gifts were not prepared. She didn't know if it would leave a bad impression on his father. Yi Hongwen hugged her comfortingly. It's okay. Although he doesn't like me as a son, he hopes that I will find a wife and give him grandchildren as soon as possible. He will never be disrespectful to you. Lin Miaomiao was embarrassed. It was too early to talk about having grandchildren. She was still young, and it was too early for her to be a mother. But why did a small version of Yi Baozi appear in her mind subconsciously? No matter how nervous she was, the person was sitting in front and took the initiative to call her over. There was no reason to refuse. Lin Miaomiao could only be nervously pulled over by her boyfriend. Chapter 354, A Powerful Freeloader Team. Ren Yao, who sat in the row in front of Yi Zhengyang. Although Lin Miaomiao was nervous, she didn't forget to say hello after walking over. Putting aside his status as a marshal, he was her eldest brother's father-in-law, so she couldn't neglect him. After exchanging a few pleasantries with Ren Yaohu, Yi Hongwen didn't rush to introduce his father. Instead, he introduced the other marshals and the captain-in-chief to her. After being ignored for a long time, Yi Zhengyang finally got angry. Unfilial son, bring your daughter-in-law to me quickly. Yi Zhengyang slammed the table and stood up. If you don't bring her here, don't bring her home in the future. Liu Wan's eyes lit up. This was great. If the captain-in-chief didn't recognize this daughter-in-law, his beloved daughter might have another chance. Yi Hongwen said calmly, if you don't let her go home, my mother won't let you go home either. Even if you have a grandson in the future, I won't let you hold him. Yi Zhengyang's face flushed. Everyone thought he was going to fly into a rage, but unexpectedly, he actually held back. Instead, he said to Lin Miaomiao with a pleasant face, I was just joking. Even if I don't let him in, I won't lock you out. Don't worry. Lin Miaomiao was embarrassed. She didn't know how to respond to this. She could only turn around and look for help. Yi Hongwen, some words are better ignored. Yi Hongwen patted her hand as if to comfort her, took her hand to Yi Zhengyang and introduced him seriously. This is my old man. You can just call him Uncle Yi. Why call him uncle? Just call him dad, Yi Zhengyang protested. He and Gulan were indeed husband and wife. They had the same opinion on the issue of address, but his opinion was still ignored. "Hello, Uncle Yi," Lin Miaomiao spoke very reservedly, and obediently ignored some of Yi Zhengyang's words. She was not as thick-skinned as someone who could call him dad the first time they met. After meeting her future father-in-law, Lin Miaomiao was forcibly pulled away by Yi Hongwen again. Yi Zhengyang stared at his son's back with a desolate look and muttered resentfully, "Just wait for me, little bastard, don't come to me for help if you have any problems in the future." He said so, but when the morning game was about to end, Yi Zhengyang put on a stern face and found his son who was huddled in the corner. "Let's have lunch together at noon, your mother will be home in a few days." Mother Yi was finally tired of staying in Shaoyin Star. Remembering that she still had a daughter at home who needed to be taken care of, she prepared to go home. Before going home, she wanted to meet her future daughter-in-law. Sure, Yi Hongwen agreed without hesitation upon hearing that it was his mother who wanted to have a dinner together. "Where are we going to eat?" your mother said. Yi Zhengyang paused, speaking rather awkwardly, "that she wants to eat food cooked by my daughter-in-law. I don't know when I'll be able to eat it again." He felt ashamed to ask such a request of his future daughter-in-law, whom he had just met. However, his wife was looking forward to trying her cooking before going home, and he didn't want to disappoint her, so he had to bite the bullet and ask. He just hoped that his future daughter-in-law was as good-natured as Lan said. It would be bad if she thought that he and his wife were being unreasonable because of this. He was determined to be a kind father-in-law. Yi Zhengyang's thoughts were a bit far-fetched, and then he realized sadly that his son was the one who was difficult to talk to, and he especially liked to undermine him. "No," Yi Hongwen flatly refused. "Miaomiao has a competition this afternoon and needs a break at noon, so she won't have the energy to cook. Besides, you heard about Miaomiao's cooking and wanted to try it, right? You know, Mom loves Miaomiao very much." Knowing she was going to compete, she definitely wouldn't have asked for such a thing. "You unfilial son, it's just a few dishes, how tiring can it be? You don't know when your mom will come to Shaoyin Star next time." Yi Zhengyang was furious, but he didn't argue with his son, acknowledging that it was actually his suggestion. Yi Hongwen was unmoved and was about to refuse again, but Lin Miaomiao secretly pinched him, and he shut up. "If Aunt Yi wants to eat, then of course I'm willing to cook for her," Lin Miaomiao agreed, but she decided to try to find a familiar environment. "I don't know where Aunt Yi is right now, I'd like to cook on the Shanyu, is that okay?" "Okay, I'll pick her up later and then meet you on the Shanyu," Yi Zhengyang agreed. After all, it wasn't far from his place, so it wouldn't take long. The lunch was settled. Although Yi Hongwen was unhappy, he didn't object to his girlfriend's decision. It was his mother who specifically requested lunch, and he couldn't take advantage of her. The first match of the preliminary round was over, and everyone in the lounge was about to go home. However, Ren Yaohu and his son Ren Changning followed Yi Hongwen and his son. "I heard Miaomiao is a good cook. Let's go and have a free meal." "Hongwen, do you mind?" "No, it's more lively with more people," Lin Miaomiao agreed. It would be better to have more people to avoid awkward interactions with Yi's parents. Yi Hongwen. Actually, he minded a lot, but he couldn't say it because his girlfriend was obviously happy to do it. However, the story was not over yet. No matter who they were, they all loved to join in the fun. Seeing Ren Yaohu and his son running to have a free meal, the other marshals and the chief captain said that they couldn't forget them. Zhang Zhigu, his belly puffed out, grinned, "How can I be left out of this delicious feast? Yaohu, you guys can't eat it all by yourself." "That's right, I can't be left out." The others, eager to get in on the action, nodded in agreement. Fortunately, while the captains were tempted and eager to seize this opportunity to build rapport with their superiors, they didn't dare actually approach. They could only gaze at Yi Hongwen with resentment, wondering why this guy was so lucky. Not only did he have a captain as his father, but he even had a girlfriend who called Marshal Ren uncle. The lunch they longed for, meant to build rapport, left Lin Miaomiao feeling a bit overwhelmed. She'd just gone with Yi Hongwen to say hello to so many high-ranking officials, forcing herself to avoid being rude. Now, she was going back with them to eat and drink for free. The pressure was immense. It wouldn't have been hard to refuse someone close to her, but with people like Zhang Zhigu, Yi Hongwen couldn't quite bring himself to say no. He reluctantly agreed, then apologized, saying he needed to go back and make preparations, and logged off with his terrified girlfriend. Yi Hongwen and the other two logged off relatively late. The rest of the fleet had already logged off and gathered to discuss the match. Seeing them finally log off, they hurried over. "Boss, what are you guys doing up there?" Liu Yifei complained. "It's been over for a while, and you still haven't logged off." "I've been waiting for you forever," Wen Zixi chuckled. "What else could they be doing? They must have found an empty room to make out." "Boss, don't you know how to hold back a little? How would the little cook live if someone saw us?" The clever military advisor had recently gotten stuck in a rut, constantly finding fault with the little cook and being picked on by her man, even enjoying the pain. Unfortunately, Lin Miaomiao, who usually fought him with such enthusiasm, ignored him. A powerful freeloader was coming, and she just wanted to get back to the ship and prepare. The lunch couldn't be too shabby. The two walked out hand in hand, and the others were gorgeously ignored. Liu Kaoyer said sadly, "A married woman is like spilled water." "I believe this." Fang Licken looked at her with contempt. "It's not your turn to take her back." Chapter 355, Taking Out Anger. Back on the Shenyu, Lin Miaomiao headed straight for the kitchen. Dinner was scheduled for 12 o'clock, and she only had an hour and a half to prepare, so she had to hurry. Luckily, she was familiar with the ship's kitchen, and with Shen Yizhen helping her, she wasn't overwhelmed and quickly prepared the necessary ingredients. Since the guests were all senior leaders, who were relatively elderly, Lin Miaomiao decided to keep the dishes light, as they were more in line with health principles. However, while light was a good idea, meat shouldn't be too infrequent. Mecha operators were used to eating more meat, as meat provided a nutritional boost given their high-calorie intake. So, the lunch menu consisted of steamed pork with rice flour, braised pork with preserved vegetables, braised pork in red sauce, sweet and sour spare ribs, steamed yellow croaker, mouth-watering chicken, lotus blood duck, boiled beef slices, spicy chicken wings, stir-fried shredded eel, stir-fried clams, boiled shrimp, scrambled eggs with tomatoes, stir-fried green beans, stir-fried celery, stir-fried bok choy, and finally corn and bone soup. In addition to the main course, she also prepared a few snacks: pumpkin pie, candied banana, taro sweet potato balls, osmanthus rice cakes, popcorn chicken, and French fries. The biggest headache was the drinks. The ship had apple juice, watermelon juice, and herbal tea, but she wasn't sure if she should have any. After all, didn't the leaders enjoy a little wine with their meals? And since they were all mecha pilots, even if they rarely flew mechas these days, that wouldn't change. After hesitating for a long time, Lin Miaomiao was about to order a few bottles of wine when Yi Hongwen strode in. "Miaomiao, can you handle this? Do you want help?" Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes ungraciously. "How can I find help? The last time you snuck aboard, she helped in the kitchen for a few days," Yi Hongwen said, having already chosen someone. Since Yun Yan had dared to lead Miaomiao astray, he wouldn't let her off lightly. Yi Hongwen had been thinking about teaching her a lesson, but he hadn't figured out how to do it yet. "Okay, I'm busy," Lin Miaomiao refused, her face etched with amusement. Then, remembering her earlier struggle, she said, "Do you need some wine for your dad and the others?" Yi Hongwen shook his head. "No, if they want some, let them go home and buy it themselves. We're a fleet, so alcohol's prohibited." Lin Miaomiao nodded. This saved her the trouble. If they drank, the meal would take longer, and with so many other people around, she couldn't leave the table early, she'd be fed up. "Oh, by the way," Yi Hongwen suddenly remembered, "send a video message to your sister-in-law. Tell her to come back for dinner at 12 o'clock. The Ren family misses her." "Okay, I'll send it to her shortly," she said, as she was mixing rice noodles with marinated pork belly. It was hard to just abandon her work. Once the pork and rice noodles were in the steamer, she finally found time to send a video message to Ren Jiao. She briefly informed them of the time and place for dinner and quickly hung up, forgetting to explain why. Yi Hongwen was speechless. "You didn't even give her an explanation. You confused her. Can't you see I'm busy? If you have such a big disagreement, why don't you just inform her yourself and explain it however you want?" Lin Miaomiao said unhappily. "After all, you two are childhood sweethearts. It was all his fault that this busy lunch was made." She felt a stomach ache at the thought of having lunch with a bunch of big bosses. To put it bluntly, she was flattered. And Yi Hongwen, the culprit who caused this, was gorgeously taken out by her. "If I inform her myself, I'm afraid you two siblings will be jealous," Yi Hongwen said helplessly. "Besides, Although I have known her since childhood, we are really not familiar with each other and we don't get along. He is not a fool like Gu Qingheng, who can't even understand his own thoughts, and he is impatient to flirt with other women. He directly rejects his admirers. Even so, I'm still mad at you today. Lin Miaomiao squinted at him. Don't think she didn't know. Even if he was bringing her to meet his parents, he could have done it privately, right? He had to do it in front of so many high-ranking officials. Wasn't he just trying to assert his sovereignty? If that were all, she'd be fine with it, but Father Yu was no pushover. He even publicly announced the meal and specifically requested that she cook it herself. She was happy to cook for the elders, but she didn't want to have so many high-ranking officials in attendance. Growing increasingly frustrated, Lin Miaomiao angrily told her boyfriend, "You're not allowed in my dorm tonight. Go back to your room on the 50th floor." This was a bolt from the blue. Yi Hongwen felt completely implicated. He wanted to protest, but she was too busy to even pay attention, so he gave up. The food was almost ready to be served, and Yi Hongwen offered him a plate. Just as he was about to offer some conciliatory words, begging for a pardon for the evening's punishment, his communicator rang. "Shut up, go answer it over there," Lin Miaomiao said in a sullen voice. She looked unattractive in her state of venting her anger on others, and she couldn't let anyone see that. Yi Hongwen obediently found a corner to answer the video call. Gu Lan's virtual image immediately appeared in front of him, and she said passionately, "Hong Hong, Mommy misses you so much. Do you miss me?" Judging from the background, she was still sitting in the car, probably on the way. "Don't say such boring things. Someone is thinking about you," Yi Hongwen said seriously. "I only think about my wife." Lin Miaomiao, who was sitting by the stove, curled up the corners of her mouth. She knew it wasn't true, but she still felt very happy. She just didn't know if Aunt Yu would be angry. Forgetting the mother after having a wife is a taboo for all mothers-in-law. Gu Lan, on the other end of the video call, was practically furious. "You unfilial son. I might as well have had a dog instead of you. Gui Gui is much more obedient than you. He follows me around with his tail wagging every day, and he follows me wherever I go." Yi Hongwen said calmly, "Gui Gui won't buy you gifts and send them home, and you won't find a daughter-in-law who will cook for you." Lin Miaomiao accidentally used too much force with her spatula, swishing it hard against the bottom of the pot with a harsh sound. Was he trying to use her as a free cook again, to please his mother? She glared resentfully at the man who hadn't realized he'd said the wrong thing, and decided to keep him out of the house for the time being. She'd have to try to please her future mother-in-law herself, so he wouldn't be used as a tool to compete for favors with a dog. Yi Hongwen, who thought he was complimenting his wife's cooking skills, felt quite smug. He figured she'd be in a good mood right now. After sending the idler away, he'd apologize and comfort her. He'd probably not have to sleep alone that night. Gu Lan, who had also heard the harsh scraping of the spatula, felt a certain gloating. Her future daughter-in-law had misjudged her, and her son would be the one to bear the brunt of it. This thought made her feel much better, and she waved her hand, mercifully deciding not to pursue her son's guilt of forgetting his mother after having a wife. At that moment, someone suddenly squeezed in beside Gu Lan. "Can you please wait to praise your wife? We old guys have been waiting at the ship's gate for quite a while." Yi Hongwen was silent for a moment, wiping his face with frustration. Even at that moment, she still took her time to argue with him. Women were truly incomprehensible. "I'll have Zhao Cheng open the ship's gate right away." Chapter 356, Broken. Even though the ship's doors had been opened, with so many high-ranking officials arriving, it was impossible to neglect them. Yi Hongwen could only summon the vice captain and several team leaders to greet them at the gate. Before leaving, he tried to steal a moment's intimacy, but was dismissively rejected. So, he could only go to greet them, suspecting his wife was even more furious. Captain Yi, whose emotional intelligence was somewhat low, reluctantly left, never realizing that the cook had been determined to keep him out of the spotlight for a while. Otherwise, he would have regretted it so much that he wouldn't even have bothered to greet the high-ranking officials. After he left, Lin Miaomiao took out a large, tiered insulated box and sorted the prepared dishes into their respective categories. She also tossed the juice and herbal tea into the space button, and finally, the bok choy dish was ready to be served. After putting the insulated box back into the space button, Lin Miaomiao hurried up to the third floor. She went to the room she had decorated for the previous reception. It would likely be used for entertaining guests from now on. The leaders' cars should have driven directly to the warship, but after getting off, they still had to exchange some polite words, so they probably wouldn't arrive so early. This gave Lin Miaomiao time to set the table. Snacks were for after dinner, in case the guests weren't full but embarrassed to complain, so they didn't need to be served now. So, she only placed the dishes and soup on the table, followed by a jug of apple and watermelon juice, and a bottle of herbal tea. Once the dishes were set, she realized she'd made a mistake and hadn't brought the dishes. She had to ask Chen Yi to bring them up. Fortunately, Chen Yi was quick, arriving with a tableware before the guests arrived. A man and a robot busied themselves setting the tableware. After that, Lin Miaomiao walked around the table several times, ensuring that the dishes were present and the tableware was clean and tidy. Only then did she breathe a sigh of relief. Everything was ready, and Lin Miaomiao went out to see where the guests were, only to be met by a bewildered Ren Jiao. "Why did you ask me to come up to eat today? Are you having a special meal?" Ren Jiao joked. Lin Miaomiao nodded. "Yes, we are having a special meal with the big bosses. Your father and brother are here." Ren Jiao's pretty face instantly became distorted. "Why are they here? I didn't even take the initiative to say hello." Even though Mi Lulin had already announced her identity, Ren Jiao, who was used to keeping a low profile, still didn't like to show off. Her friends in the fleet hadn't seen it with their own eyes and didn't have any extra thoughts. Now that her father and brother came to eat on the ship, everyone would probably look at her differently. These two scoundrels were going to screw her to death. Although most of the teammates in the fleet were normal, there were also some who were opportunistic. Who knows, there might be opportunists coming to her in the future. The two looked at each other and sighed helplessly. This meal was not delicious. There were footsteps at the stairs. The two men immediately adjusted their facial expressions and greeted them at the door. When the guests arrived, Lin Miaomiao was still a little nervous and casually called out, "Welcome, everyone." Could they have come to the wrong place? A smile flashed in Yi Hongwen's eyes, and then he explained seriously, "She worked as a receptionist in a restaurant during the summer. She's used to it." Everyone suddenly realized that this was the case. No wonder, so they all smiled in understanding. Lin Miaomiao was depressed. "Receptionist, you are such a fool." She was a small boss. Why did she need to be a receptionist? The guests came in and sat down. They were very satisfied with the rich dishes on the table. Yi Zhongyang smiled and said, "Thank you for your hard work, Miaomiao. You can prepare such a large table of dishes in such a short time." Gu Lan rolled her eyes at him. "I asked you to send me over earlier, but you refused. If I had come earlier, I could have helped." Yi Hongwen's cold eyes instantly swept over his father. He actually deliberately stopped him. Did he want to tire out his wife? Aren't you going home? Don't you want to spend more time with me?" Yi Zhongyang shed a tear of sympathy for himself. Was it wrong for him to feel sorry for his wife? Why didn't his wife and children understand? Having bullied her husband, Gu Lan took the initiative, smiling broadly on her son's behalf. "Everyone, please sit down. Don't be polite. The food will get cold soon." After the elders were seated, Yi Hongwen and the other three younger members dared to sit down. Ren Yaohu, one of the five marshals and a familiar figure to Lin Miaomiao and Yi Hongwen, took the lead and took up his chopsticks. "I won't be polite. We're all acquaintances." As he spoke, he unceremoniously shoved a piece of braised pork into his mouth. Following his lead, the others followed suit, and no one could stop eating. It wasn't that Lin Miaomiao's food was truly so delicious that it was hard to stop eating. It was that the table was so diverse, young and old, and their status was unequal. It was inappropriate to start any conversation, so they simply buried their heads in the food. Of course, if the food tasted terrible, no one would be able to finish it. Everyone here was used to delicious food. After a frenzy of eating, the table was cleared, and Lin Miaomiao's chopsticks were messy. At first, she was too embarrassed to pick up the food, so she hesitated and didn't eat much. By the time she had prepared herself and started to pick up food, her plate was completely empty. Aren't big leaders supposed to be reserved? They sipped juice and ate food slowly, but why did they all look like they hadn't eaten a full meal in a long time? Where did the leader's integrity go? Ren Jiao also felt depressed, holding her chopsticks. Unlike Lin Miaomiao, she didn't just complain in her heart. Instead, she complained directly to her father and brother, "You haven't eaten a full meal in days, and you actually cleared the plates? You don't even care about your image." They said they loved their daughter and sister, but they didn't even leave her a bite of food. She didn't even eat half full. There was rice, but she couldn't just eat plain rice. There's a reason for this. Ren Yao, who was also a little embarrassed, but he couldn't say it that way. If someone heard him, they might say that he had become spoiled after being a marshal for so long. What he couldn't say could only be said by Yi Zhenggang. It's like this. The military has recently spent a lot of credit points on buying virtual login devices, and military expenditures have overspent a lot. In order to make up for this shortfall, the military has started to be frugal. The canteen has nothing to offer except boiled cabbage, stir-fried bean sprouts, and hot and sour shredded potatoes. Lin Miaomiao was silent. It turned out that the military was so poor that they couldn't even afford meat. Full of sympathy, she took out some snacks after the meal. Here are some food. I prepared them in case there weren't enough dishes. After the 6 snacks were served, she took out a plate of grapes and a plate of sliced cantaloupe, making a total of 8. Well, eating some fruit after a meal can also aid digestion. Ren Yao, who winked at his son, who immediately snatched the plate of sweet-scented osmanthus rice cake and stuffed it into Ren Jiao. Little sister, aren't you full? This plate is all yours. Everyone's eyes were red. How could someone snatch food like this? They didn't even get a single bite. They really wanted to beat him up. Ren Jiao blushed. The little brother was too unreliable. He just snatched the whole plate without fear of angering everyone. The most important thing was, how many times have I told you that I don't like to eat things that are too sweet? Ren Changning was depressed because he wanted to coax his little sister but grabbed the wrong thing. It's so hard to be a good brother these days. Chapter 357 1 Vote 1 Preliminary Round. After dinner, with the exception of Yi Zhenggang and his wife, who stayed aboard to bond with their daughter-in-law, the other senior leaders all departed. As they sped away in their cars, Lin Miaomiao breathed a sigh of relief. While they supposedly bonded, it was essentially just a few words before everyone went off for lunch. Yi Zhenggang and his wife occupied their son's dorm room, and Yi Hongwen happily followed Lin Miaomiao. The cook, determined to keep him out, had to postpone her plans. Fortunately, after lunch, Lin Miaomiao resumed her peaceful competition life. Aside from someone who was sent back to their room that night, feeling unsatisfied, everything was normal. Aside from a difficult first match, Lin Miaomiao's subsequent 1 Vote 1 preliminary matches were like cheats, easily winning against either a level 3 or a newly promoted level 4 mecha operator. She even had the good fortune of a bye in the 6th match. There are the lucky and the unlucky, like Yu Hongbo. Despite his extensive combat experience and having achieved the rank of level 4 mecha master relatively early, he was practically on the verge of breaking through. He was fearless against level 4 mecha masters, but in his second match, he faced a level 5 mecha master, and that was it. Every time Lin Miaomiao returned to the Shenyu after a match, she was met with envy and jealousy. To appease her friends, she had to work harder and offer special meals to everyone, sometimes even giving extra meals to all the participating team members. Seeing her tactful attitude, Liu Kaoyu and the others naturally felt less jealous and, instead, felt sorry for her hard work. They urged her to stop offering special meals, saying, "Wait until after the match. It'll save people from constantly scrambling for free food and drinks." Well, they were actually annoyed by the people who were snatching up food, and there were more than one person involved: Ren Jiao's younger brother, the daughter-obsessed Ren Yao, and Yi Zhenggang, who refused to eat in the cafeteria after his wife returned. Initially, the identities of these three were quite intimidating. Liu Kaoyu and the others sat at the table trembling with fear, their chopsticks unresponsive, and they resolved not to eat at the special meal next time when these two were around. By the end of the meal, the almighty marshal had stepped down from his pedestal, and the Azure Dragon's captain had revealed his true self, as the two men engaged in a fisticuffs over who'd get the last piece of braised pork. It was truly unbearable to watch. In the final match of the preliminary round, Lin Miaomiao's luck finally ran out. She encountered a formidable obstacle, a level 5 mecha pilot from their fleet, one with a grudge against her. Entering the battle room, Sheng Ruinan burst into laughter upon seeing her. "Yi Hongwen protected you so well, yet you still fell into my hands. It seems you won't make the top 100 today." Lin Miaomiao's response was to summon her mecha and charge forward. "Instead of wasting time on idle chatter, it's better to get on the mechas early, lest you miss the opportunity. Level 5 mech pilots are formidable, but their foundations are shaky, and who knows what might go wrong along the way. The rivals, enraged at each other, forgot to use their weapons once they were in their mechas, and engaged in a fistfight. Everyone watching the room covered their faces, thinking even beginners could fight better than them. Lin Miaomiao realized this wasn't going to work. After a few blows to vent her anger, she was the first to unleash her broadsword, viciously slashing at Shang Ruinen's red mech. Unfortunately, the opponent was quick to react and dodged in an instant. With a demonstration, Shang Ruinen deployed her weapon. The weapon mounted on her mech was slightly smaller, but that was only compared to Aoxu's, which used a thick iron rod. Even at its smaller size, it was still a mech weapon, weighing hundreds or even thousands of pounds. Lin Miaomiao, if I were you, you might as well just admit defeat and avoid being embarrassed later. Shang Ruinen may have been holding it in for too long. Even when fighting, she did not forget to turn on the loudspeaker to shiver people. I didn't use my full strength just now. You won't have an easy time next time. Faced with the harsh words of her love rival, Lin Miaomiao could not remain indifferent. Wouldn't that make her seem very cowardly? So she sneered back, what a coincidence, I didn't use my full strength just now. If you are afraid, you can click to quit. After all, if a level 5 mecha master loses to a level 4, you may not dare to go out on the future, then it depends on your ability, Shang Ruinen said loudly. I don't believe you can advance to the top 100, neither of them could convince the other to admit defeat, they just talked for a while, and then continued to fight. Lin Miaomiao was ready for a protracted war. After all, she could drag it out for a long time against Wenzixi, although she still lost in the end. Given the level advantage, Wenzixi's greater experience and superior mecha awareness meant she wasn't embarrassed to lose. Judging from this, she had already mentally prepared herself for elimination from the preliminary round, but simply didn't want to let someone she disliked win so easily. However, accidents happen, and some people are more likely to be unlucky. Just as their fight was stalemate, Shang Ruinen suddenly groaned in pain and stopped moving. Lin Miaomiao didn't know what had happened to her rival, but she wasn't a saint. Seeing her opponent stop, she didn't follow suit. Instead, she calmly changed her attack strategy, firing directly at the red mecha's pod. The mecha, undeterred, was hit and quickly disappeared. At the same time, the referee received a system alarm. Attention, a contestant in room A on the 47th floor has been forced offline due to mental disturbances. Please send to the hospital immediately. Yi Hongwen, who is watching the competition in the lounge, also received the message and immediately logged off to check. In a flash, he saw a red warning light flashing on a landing device in the first row of the landing room. Yi Hongwen quickly walked over to the landing room and opened the door. Then he rushed to the bedside and carefully removed the landing device from the motionless person. Only after removing it did he realize it was Shang Ruinen. A few minutes later, a robot from the infirmary rushed into the landing room and headed straight for the bed where Yi Hongwen stood. It pulled out a folding bed, lifted the unconscious person onto it, secured them with a safety strap, and then scurried off with the person. Yi Hongwen was completely ignored during this entire process, but he didn't pay any attention. Shang Ruinen was carried away, but someone had to go and check on her. Yi Hongwen himself couldn't spare the time. As many other players were still competing on the virtual network, he had to stay nearby to prevent any further incidents. After some thought, he decided to check in the virtual network's player waiting area and find a player who had finished their competition and was going to the infirmary to check on their test results. He then caught his girlfriend being stopped and asked for her name. Yi Hongwen. It turns out that having a girlfriend who is too beautiful is also a kind of trouble. Hiding in the fleet is not a big deal, but as soon as you go out, you will encounter all kinds of wolves. With alarms ringing in his heart, Yi Hongwen even threw Shang Ruinen's affairs aside and rushed over in 3 or 2 steps. Miaomiao, why are you still staying here after the game? Didn't I tell you to find me in the lounge? The man who was chasing the beautiful woman to ask for her name and contact information was depressed. It turned out that the beautiful woman was already taken. No wonder she rejected her without saying a word. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 358 Unacceptable Consequences. Filling out the paperwork for filing was a simple task, and Lin Miaomiao finished it in just 10 minutes, despite a few minor hiccups. For example, for her age, she didn't know the answer, so she casually filled in unknown. When she handed the form in, the receptionist looked down on her. You wouldn't leave it blank if you didn't know your age, so why did you write unknown? Are you trying to show off your sense of humor? The receptionist's bright red lips moved, his face brimming with irritation. And what about gender? If you're female, just write female. While right should be female. Can't you tell the difference between men and women? Lin Miaomiao didn't protest this time. She was clearly at fault for the form, so she listened to the receptionist's lecture with her head down, then filled out the application form again at his request, this time obediently refusing to make any more mischief. After filling out the form, Lin Miaomiao fled back to the emergency room. Then she remembered that she hadn't asked the registrar, Sheng Ruonan, which ICU she was assigned to. Hospitals are incredibly efficient these days. Once the information is filled out and the ward is assigned, the doctor will receive the notification and transfer the patient directly. As for waiting for the family to arrive before transferring, the doctor will tell you, we're incredibly pressed for time. We don't have the time to waste with you. Not knowing the room number, she could only push open the half-closed door and go in to ask. It seemed she had been having a bad day. Surprisingly, the only person in the emergency room was Ren Yan, the harsh, middle-aged female doctor, who ignored her questions. If you want to know where the patient is, why don't you ask the one at the registration office? The emergency room is a place to receive emergency patients. Who has the time to answer you? Ren Yan waved her hands impatiently. Get out quickly and don't bother me here. Lin Miaomiao frowned and asked coldly, you don't have any patients now, so it's okay to answer the question, right? I don't want to answer. Ren Yan raised her chin and looked at her disdainfully, because I don't like looking at you. That's what I think too. Lin Miaomiao snorted, and decided to go back to the registration office to ask. Although the registrar was also very fierce, he was not an unreasonable person. After much searching, Lin Miaomiao finally found Sheng Ruonan's ward. Though it seemed like she'd brought it upon herself, she shamelessly blamed the patient in the repair chamber. If it weren't for your unstable mental state from taking so many medications, I wouldn't have needed to come and watch over you. Sheng Ruonan's repair chamber wasn't just using standard repair fluid. Because of her fluctuating mental state, the hospital had added a soothing medication, making it even more difficult to absorb. She'd have to stay in there for at least 4 hours. Lin Miaomiao checked the time. The competition should be almost over by now, and Yi Hongwen would have arrived by then. To her surprise, today's competition didn't end until 1 p.m. because 2 level 5 mecha pilots had been unlucky enough to be paired together, one of whom was from Shenyu. Fortunately, the unlucky individual was Luo Chang, who ranked in the top 3 among Shenyu's level 5 pilots and, after a long and arduous battle, successfully advanced to the semifinals. Because the last match of the 1v1 finals was that morning, it was already 2 p.m. when Yi Hongwen finished sorting out the results and rushed to the hospital. At that time, Lin Miaomiao was slurping down her apple-flavored nutritional supplement. Seeing Yi Hongwen enter, Lin Miaomiao said unhappily, "Why did you come just now? I've been guarding here and dared not wander around. I'm starving to death." Yi Hongwen was speechless. He didn't even mention the snacks and fruits in her space button. Just drinking the nutritional supplement in her hand wouldn't make her feel hungry. It's just that some things cannot be said, otherwise he could foresee that the time he would be alone in the empty room would be extended indefinitely, so he said with great distress, "It's fine if people are in the hospital and there are machine nurses watching them. There's no need to stay here all the time. I'll take you to eat something first." Lin Miaomiao shook the nutrient solution in her hand and found that she had drunk a bottle without realizing it. Now she didn't feel hungry anymore, so she waved her hand pretending to be upright. "Forget it, she's about to come out anyway, so let's wait here." She wanted to see Sheng Ruonan's expression after she came out and learned that her mental strength was unstable and her mental realm might collapse at any time. It must be very exciting, but it's a pity that it's useless to regret. There is no regret medicine in the world. Yi Hongwen could see through her undisguised thoughts, but he nodded indulgently. "Okay, let's talk about it after she wakes up. But I haven't eaten yet. Do you have any nutritional supplements?" "Yes, I do, but..." Lin Miaomiao looked at him suspiciously. "I remember you always have nutritional supplements of various flavors. Do you still need me to give you some?" "Of course I do," Yi Hongwen answered seriously. "The ones my wife gives me taste better." Lin Miaomiao glanced at him sideways. Don't think that you won't be turned away at night just because you flatter her. She is a very principled person. Even though she acted very disapproving, she still took out the original nutritional supplement and handed it to him, saying in a stern voice, "Drink it quickly. I won't care if you starve yourself. Don't hurt your stomach again." Yi Hongwen was very happy in his heart, but he didn't show it on his face. He took the nutritional supplement and drank it in 2 or 3 gulps. Just as he was about to say something else, the repair cabin displayed the indicator light indicating that the repair was complete. The door of the ward was opened, and the robot nurse came in and carried Shang Ruinan out of the repair cabin. Lin Miaomiao reflexively covered Yi Hongwen's eyes with her hands. "Don't worry, I won't peek with my eyes closed," Yi Hongwen said with a mixture of laughter and tears, and then said something nice. "She is not you, why would I want to see her?" Shang Ruinan, who had just woken up, was confused. What the hell was going on? These two people actually ran to show their affection in front of her again. It was simply unbearable. "All of you get out," Shang Ruinan said a little madly. "Who let you into my room?" She had just woken up and her mind was still confused. She didn't pay attention to the environment she was in, and subconsciously opened her mouth to drive them away. "You're dreaming. Do you think this hospital is owned by your family? We'll leave if you tell us to." "That would be so embarrassing," Lin Miaomiao said disdainfully. "Besides, if your condition wasn't serious, we wouldn't have the time to stay here." Shang Ruinan's heart skipped a beat. She remembered that she suddenly felt a sharp pain in her mental realm during the competition, and then she lost consciousness. Was she sent to the hospital? Her eyeballs rolled up and down, and with a tingling sensation in her head, she soon realized that the facts were just as Lin Miaomiao said, and she panicked. "What do you mean the situation is not good? What happened to me? Oh, by the way, I was still competing with you before I passed out. Did you do something to me?" Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes. She was really shocked even when she was lying down. She was unhappy and not afraid of irritating the patient. She just repeated the doctor's words and then concluded, "So this has nothing to do with me. It's all your fault for taking the wrong medicine. How could this happen? I obviously succeeded. The doctor must have misdiagnosed me." Shang Ruinan struggled to get up and find someone. "I have to go ask." The robot nurse immediately stepped forward and pressed her back on the bed, saying very flatly, "Please control your emotions and rest well, otherwise we will use special methods to help you." But Shang Ruinan had such bad news. How could she control her emotions? She kept struggling, and looked at Yi Hongwen for help with a miserable expression. "Captain, please help me. The doctor must be wrong. I want him to check again." Finally, the robot nurse injected Shang Ruinan with a sedative. As she fell asleep, she heard Yi Hongwen say coldly, "There is no regret medicine in the world. Since you dare to take the risk, you must bear the consequences of failure." Chapter 359 Hateful yet pitiful. After she woke up, Shang Ruinan's condition meant she couldn't compete in the upcoming team competitions. Yi Hongwen prepared to ask the judges if a replacement was possible. As for the hospital, he didn't intend to intervene, simply notifying the Shang family to come and handle it. If it were a normal injury for a team member, he wouldn't have ignored it. But this time, someone had brought it upon themselves, so he wasn't interested. He was so busy lately that he didn't have the time for such things. It's worth noting that when the Shang family learned of Shang Ruinan's injury in the hospital, their first reaction wasn't concern. Instead, they lashed out at her, saying, "This troublemaker. Not only did she lose a competition, but she's seriously injured." Their second reaction was questioning, "Wasn't it a virtual competition? How did she get injured? Did you do something to her?" Finally, they tried to shift the blame, saying, "She joined your fleet. Whether she's injured or dead, it's your responsibility. Don't ask the Shang family to take care of her." Yi Hongwen contacted Shang Ruinan's father, but he ended the video call after a long conversation. His next call was rejected and blocked. Even the most hateful person has their pitiful side. Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but sigh. With such a cold and indifferent father, it was no wonder Shang Ruinan's personality was a bit twisted. But, if the Shang family doesn't send anyone, then why should we stay here? Even though she felt a little sympathetic towards Shang Ruinan, she still didn't want to stay in the hospital. The disinfectant smelled terrible, and she didn't want to stay any longer than necessary. Fortunately, Yi Hongwen didn't intend for her to stay and care for the patient, and he had a good reason. "Your match isn't over yet. You don't know if you'll have a match tomorrow. You need to go back and get some rest. The 1v1 semifinals weren't like the preliminaries, where players competed daily. Instead, there were 20 matches a day, with players randomly selected. Therefore, those who made it into the top 100 had to wait until the players for their respective matches were drawn. Only those who weren't selected could leave. Although the lounge could conjure up numerous virtual screens to broadcast all the matches, with so many people competing, it would be too much for everyone to watch. Would that defeat the military's stated purpose of allowing mecha pilots to learn from each other? Even though Shen Yu's team members didn't make it to the top 100, they didn't stay at the base for intensive training these days, but came to the military headquarters to watch the competition. In the end, Yi Hongwen was not so cold-blooded as to really ignore Sheng Ruonan. No matter how much he hated her, she was still a member of the fleet, and as a captain, he couldn't be too selfish. The mecha technicians would definitely not be willing to give up the opportunity to learn to take care of the patient. Moreover, Sheng Ruonan's condition was too serious and he couldn't be discharged in a short time. Yi Hongwen thought about it and finally asked Lin Yudang, who was doing odd jobs and studying, to stay with him. He didn't need to do much, just watch here, to show that Shen Yu didn't ignore this comrade. If Sheng Ruonan needed anything, he could just ring the bell to call the robot nurse. What if he doesn't want to take care of the patient? Lin Miaomiao was a little unhappy. She didn't know what was going on, but she had a very special closeness to Lin Yuding and treated him like a younger brother. Yi Hongwen felt a little jealous. He felt his girlfriend was being too nice to another man, even if that man was still underage. So, with a straight face, he said, whether he's willing or not isn't up to you. It depends on his own opinion, then you have to ask his opinion. You can't force him to agree, Lin Miaomiao demanded, rather unreasonably. In her opinion, no one in a place like the hospital would want to come here for a stranger. She hadn't expected that Lin Yudang had always wanted to contribute more to the fleet, but Yi Hongwen and the others had been urging him to focus on his studies, assigning him only errands and odd jobs. Now, they were asking him to learn to pilot a warship. He was already worried about not having a chance to shine, so how could he refuse? I'll be right there, Lin Yudang said, already dashing out of the dormitory after receiving the video call, ready to head straight for the hospital. Wait, Yi Hongwen hurriedly stopped him. You don't even know the way. Go get Luo Cheng to take you there. Even though the landing platform was closed, Lin Yuding had never visited the military headquarters before. The maps here were classified, and the communicator's locator was useless. Yi Hongwen was truly worried he'd end up in the wrong place. About 10 minutes later, Luo Cheng walked in with Lin Yudang. As soon as he came in, he shouted, "Why do you still need to be hospitalized? Is it serious?" Yi Hongwen nodded nonchalantly. It's very serious. If it's at best, your mental strength will be downgraded and it won't be able to be upgraded in the future. If it's worse, your mental realm will collapse and you will just become an ordinary person. Luo Cheng, how scary. It's said that you can't take medicines casually, otherwise the consequences will be very serious. If you are not careful, your life will be ruined. Lin Miaomiao was not interested in their topic. She was still persuading Lin Yudang, the hospital is so gloomy, and who knows how many dead bodies there are in the morgue. It's not suitable for children to stay there for a long time. It's not too late for you to change your mind now, oh my god. Little cook, if you persuade him to go back, who will watch over him here? You? Luo Cheng looked at her with contempt. You are so timid, you probably don't dare to stay overnight in the hospital. Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes and admitted it readily. I don't dare, so this task is left to you. No, I still have to participate in the top 100 competition tomorrow. Luo Cheng refused. You have to rest well tonight and get enough energy. There is another bed here. You can sleep here. Lin Miaomiao pointed to the empty bed and provoked. Yudang is not an adult yet. How can you, a grown man, let him stay here overnight? It was okay during the day, but she was really not at ease at night. Luo Cheng hesitated after hearing this. He looked at the skinny and small boy and felt that this was a bit unfair. How about I keep watch at night, and Yudang will take over tomorrow morning? Although Luo Cheng has a somewhat unruly personality, he has a good heart. Otherwise, he would not have taken pity on Lin Yuding and brought him back to the Shenai. Being reminded intentionally, his protective thoughts immediately emerged. Then it's settled, Lin Miaomiao concluded happily. Lin Yudang, who had not found a chance to speak from beginning to end, said with a smile, no, it's just a night watch. It's not a big deal. What if Brother Luo doesn't sleep well here and it affects the competition during the day? It's okay. There are robot nurses here. Even if Shang Ruinan wants to do something weird at night, the nurse can just give him a sedative and it will be over. Lin Miaomiao didn't care much. Mecha operators don't have the problem of being picky about their beds. Otherwise, how could they run missions everywhere? No, tranquilizers cannot be used indiscriminately. Lin Yudang suddenly became excited as if he remembered something. Using too much of it will cause unpredictable harm to the patient. It must not be used indiscriminately. By the way, this is a military hospital. It will definitely not be used indiscriminately. When he spoke excitedly, Lin Yudang was shaking all over. His hands were clenched tightly, and the veins on the back of his hands were bulging, as if he was enduring something. Chapter 360 Those Gray Memories. The three noticed that Lin Yudang was not in an okay state. Although they didn't know the reason, they knew it was probably related to the sedative. Lin Miaomiao stepped forward and grabbed his hand to comfort him. Brother Lin, calm down. I was just talking casually. Didn't you say that military hospitals won't use this indiscriminately? Fortunately, Lin Yudang was a young boy with a gentle appearance and a strong heart. Otherwise he would not have taken the initiative to stand up and fight for the opportunity to stay when the fleet wanted to send him to the orphanage, so he quickly regained his composure. After calming down, Lin Yudang's first act was to apologize to the three. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. I just hate tranquilizers. They're not good. The three exchanged glances, and finally, Lin Miaomiao responded, it's okay. We won't blame you. It's just that while tranquilizers can have side effects if used excessively, they can still be very useful if used properly. There must be a reason why you dislike them so much, right? Lin Miaomiao was quite happy to have such a well-behaved brother. Unlike the Lin twins, he wasn't as shrewd as a little fox or impulsive as a firecracker. Instead, he had a quiet and steady demeanor beyond his years, like an adult. Such a well-behaved child was easy to get along with, but knowing him for a while made her feel a little distressed and worried. She was always trying not to cause trouble for others, and she kept her unhappiness to herself. Over time, she would become obsessed with herself, self-doubting and self-denial, and perhaps even collapsing. After Lin Yudang came out of the pirate den, except for standing up and fighting to stay, he was very quiet the rest of the time. He studied hard and did what he could seriously, but seldom communicated with others. Sometimes he didn't go out for meals and no one noticed. It would be better if they got along. Lin Miaomiao felt that if he continued like this, he would definitely have psychological problems, such as depression or something. So when she saw him losing control of his emotions today, instead of just saying a word, she deliberately wanted to get to the bottom of it. There is no reason. Lin Yudang lowered his head and was unwilling to tell the truth. Some wounds should be buried deep in his heart, and he didn't want to dig them up. Looking at his appearance, Lin Miaomiao didn't have the heart to poke people's wounds, but she couldn't bear that someone would not give up until they dug them up, especially Yi Hongwen, who is always rational. When he saw his girlfriend shut up, he simply took action himself. Even if you don't want to say it, we can guess a thing or two. The tranquilizer was once used on the person you cared about the most, and it had a very negative impact on him. Yi Hongwen, relying on his height to look down at Lin Yudang, pressed cruelly. That person was your mother, who you depended on for survival, right? Although Lin Yudang rarely spoke of life in the pirate den, as the captain of the fleet, Yi Hongwen had to ensure Shen Yu's safety. Therefore, he had Luo Cheng and Zhao Cheng subtly inquire into his affairs, knowing that he depended on his mother for survival in the pirate den, but that his mother had passed away 2 years ago. As Lin Yudang excitedly recounted the side effects of excessive tranquilizer use, Yi Hongwen had a strong idea. His mother's death was likely related to the drug. Yi Hongwen had to be very perceptive. After hearing his words, Lin Yudang's fist clenched again, and he reflexively looked up and glared at him. Stop talking. As a man, if you don't even have the courage to face the past, how much do you have left? Yi Hongwen said coldly. Evasion will never hide the truth. That's because you don't know anything. Lin Yudang cried silently, eyes red like a wounded animal, biting his lips so hard they looked like they were dripping with blood. Lin Miaomiao felt a surge of resentment and wanted to speak up to stop Yi Hongwen from pressing her further, but she held it back. If an abscess wasn't opened, the wound would be difficult to heal. If she wanted him to be well in the future, she had to be ruthless now. But she still felt a little unreal. They were clearly discussing the issue of Shang Ruin and staying with her overnight, so why had the protagonist been forgotten? Ultimately, it's because of one's poor character that one is easily ignored and neglected. Lin Miaomiao lamented deeply. It seemed she would have to continue to maintain her noble and pure character. After a moment of unnoticed self-praise, Lin Miaomiao came to her senses and realized that the young Lin Yuding had been forced to tell stories. Lin Yuding didn't know when this all started. He only knew that for as long as he could remember, he had been surrounded by pirates. Believing himself to be a descendant of pirates, he constantly got into fights and got into trouble. His mother tried to stop him many times, but to no avail. Someone had told him, pirates are hot-blooded and aggressive. If they were polite and courteous, it would be laughable. Those words took root in the young Yudang's heart, and he kept practicing them, despite his mother's tears and attempts to dissuade him. Until one day, he discovered that the person who had told him those words had been bullying his mother behind her back, refusing to stop despite her struggles and pleas. Furious, he smashed the person's head with a teacup. However, his impulsive actions led to tragedy. The pirate was no ordinary pirate, but the third in command of the pirate group. Lin Yudang's attack infuriated the third in command, and to teach him a profound and painful lesson, he summoned a group of his men and had them take turns beating his mother right in front of him. Only when his mother breathed her last did the third in command leave with his men, laughing. The pirates didn't kill the mother and son because of a change of heart, but because they were both beautiful. After that incident, his mother went mad, writhing around all day. She would claw and scratch at anyone who tried to do her harm, nearly disfiguring herself. To keep her quiet and allow them to assault her, the pirates administered a tranquilizer. Lin Yudang was unable to stop them, trapped in a corner, watching helplessly. He noticed that his mother had calmed down, and sometimes even without the tranquilizer, she would be still and her mind seemed clearer, but her body was steadily wasting away. Suddenly one day, when his mother was conscious, she said to him, "You are not a descendant of pirates. Your father is a legal citizen of the Federation. Live well, and maybe one day you can go back." Lin Yudang didn't believe it. Then why didn't he come to find us? Because he has a new home and doesn't remember us anymore. A sarcastic smile appeared on his mother's pale face. But it doesn't matter. As long as you go back, he will still have to support you. You must remember that his name is... The mother wanted to say the man's name, but Lin Yudang was too angry to listen, so he turned and ran away. "I don't want a father, I have you and that's enough." What he didn't expect was that his mother fell into a coma after he left. She was often like this after taking too many sedatives. He thought his mother would open her eyes soon, but she stopped breathing when she woke up. Chapter 361, What a Big Drama. After finishing his difficult narration, Lin Yudang was already in tears. Lin Miaomiao felt a pang of pain in her heart. His mother had passed away 2 years ago, which meant that he was only 12 or 13 when he witnessed what happened to his mother. "Those people really should be arrested and cut into pieces," Lin Miaomiao said bitterly. "They've become cannon fodder. You can't catch them," Yi Hongwen said calmly. Turning to ask Lin Yudang, "Do you really not know your father's name? Or did you hear it and don't want to say it? In any case, since there are still relatives around, he should go look for them. The birth rate is not high now, and he should be treated well if he returns. Besides, the divorce may not be the fault of one party, but may be a peaceful breakup caused by incompatibility of personalities." "I really don't remember," Lin Yudang replied with sobs, without any evasive look on his face. "Don't ask. I'm sure he wouldn't lie to us." Lin Miaomiao stepped forward. "If he doesn't know, then he doesn't know. He can live well in the fleet anyway, as long as he has a cheerful personality. Yeah, even if our fleet is poor, we can still afford to raise a child like this," Luo Cheng agreed. Yi Hongwen felt a headache. This wasn't a question of raising a child at all. Dozens of fleets could support such a child. He just felt that everyone needed their own family. No matter how good his teammates were to him, it was limited. They all had their own families. Ignoring the two idiot teammates who were dragging him down, Yi Hongwen continued, "Then you should know your mother's name, right?" Lin Yudang hesitated for a moment before nodding. "Her name is Lin Yin." There was only one name, and the rest was unknown. Lin Yin. The heartbroken Lin Miaomiao's eyes widened instantly. She couldn't believe the name she heard. Could she have been fooled by some melodrama? Yi Hongwen was also surprised. "You have the same last name as your mother?" "Yes," Lin Yudang nodded. "It's been like this since I was a child. That's why I thought I was a descendant of pirates, because many of my peers take their mother's last name." When he was young, he thought this was normal. Later, He realized that those who took their mother's last name did so because they were unsure of their biological fathers. Pirates didn't bother to do DNA tests or anything like that. They just raised the people so they could continue to be pirates. It didn't matter whose children they were. Brother Lin, I have a question for you. Please answer it honestly, Lin Miaomiao said seriously. You've been in the fleet for a few months, and I haven't run into you once. But after I met you a few days ago, strangely, I've been running into you so many times. Almost every day. Is that intentional? Unless they had made an appointment or were deliberately hiding somewhere, the chances of them running into each other couldn't be so high. Lin Miaomiao didn't believe in so many coincidences. She didn't ask a few days ago because she was busy with a competition and didn't come to her senses. Until just now, she heard that Lin Yudang's mother was called Lin Yin, and then she suddenly remembered what Hu Zhi had said. If she looked a lot like his mother, did it mean that the person in front of her was really her brother, even though he was only a cousin? Lin Yudang was shocked by Lin Miaomiao's straightforward question, but he didn't dare to lie. He could only apologize with a pale face. I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. I didn't mean any bad things. It's just, I know. Lin Miaomiao interrupted him bluntly. I just want to know the reason, not that I suspect you have any bad intentions. That's good. Lin Yudang breathed a sigh of relief, and then explained shyly, because he looks a bit like my mother. As expected, she was hit by the dog blood. Lin Miaomiao sighed, but did not express her suspicion immediately. Relatives cannot be recognized randomly. This matter should be told to the old man, and he should go to his old lover to investigate and verify it, or do a DNA test or something. Fortunately, the old man did not do anything wrong to his deceased grandmother. It was just a sequelae of his love affair when he was young. Otherwise, she really didn't know how to treat Lin Yudang. Let's discuss the matter of staying up all night tonight. Lin Miaomiao pulled Sheng Ruinen out of the hospital bed. I'm a little sleepy and want to go back to sleep. Lin Yudang moved uneasily and asked in a low voice, Sister Lin, are you angry? I really didn't mean to. If you are unhappy, I won't do this again in the future. The sudden change of topic made Lin Yudang find it difficult to accept. He thought that what he said just now made her unhappy, and his eyes turned red again. Yet, little cook, why are you acting weird all of a sudden? He just wants to get closer to you because you look like his mother. Luo Cheng eyed Lin Miaomiao suspiciously. Are you being petty again, Luo Cheng? What nonsense are you talking about? Lin Miaomiao wanted to flip the table. When was I petty? I didn't say I was unhappy about him doing this. Can I even take a nap? Yi Hongwen supported his girlfriend. Cheng, since you're so free, Sheng Ruinen will be in your care. I'll bring someone from the base to replace you tomorrow. Since Lin Yudang might be his girlfriend's cousin, Yi Hongwen's attitude changed. He felt he couldn't be ordered around to work, but should be brought back home to be well-fed and well-fed. With 2 votes in favor and 1 against, and Luo Cheng feeling embarrassed to refuse, the deal was settled. Since the competition ended late this morning, there was nothing to do in the afternoon. After Yi Hongwen returned to the ship with the 2 men, the Shen Yu also returned to the base early. Of course, upon returning to the base, Lin Miaomiao clamored to go back to her room for a nap, asking Lin Yudang to also go back and rest, and to dine together in the evening. This soothed the young man's fragile heart. Rushing back to her room, Lin Miaomiao didn't even bother to follow someone inside. Instead, she eagerly dialed the old man's video message and asked directly, Grandpa, did you go see your ex? After so much time had passed, she must have found out everything she needed to know, and she probably had a good idea of where the old man's first love lived, so she asked directly. Grandpa Lin had been delighted to receive the video message from his granddaughter, but who knew she would ask such a question right away? He felt uneasy and sullen. Miaomiao, where are your manners? You're asking about your elder's privacy. I have something important to discuss. Lin Miaomiao pouted. What could it be? Old Master Lin expressed his disdain. Asking about his first love was nothing more than gossip. Young people these days are so unstable. They'd even want to dig up the almanac to see what's going on. Lin Miaomiao, unaware of the old man's thoughts, replied honestly, I want to know a few things about the eldest daughter I've never met, like her son's name and any birthmarks. Old Master Lin was old enough to understand. He knew she must have made some discovery, something related to Lin Yin and her son, and immediately became excited. Did you make any discovery? Lin Miaomiao's eyes widened with worry at the excitement. She suddenly had a bad feeling. If Lin Yuding was truly her cousin, with such a pitiful and difficult life, he could easily dethrone her from her position as the most favored member of the Lin family. She feared she was about to fall from grace. She silently mourned. Chapter 362, Omen of Falling Out of Favor. Despite a bad feeling, Lin Miaomiao, out of pity and a sense of closeness for Lin Yuding, answered honestly, Captain Luo of the fleet once brought back a 15-year-old boy named Lin Yuding from a pirate ship. I looked at him and felt a sense of familiarity and closeness. He also said that I looked a lot like his mother. What about him? Let me see him. Old man Lin jumped up from his chair excitedly. It was over. He was so excited before he was even sure. If it was confirmed, wouldn't she have to stand aside? Lin Miaomiao burst into tears in her heart. She felt unhappy, so she said to her grandfather with a wooden face, It's not confirmed yet. How can I tell him about it? What if it's not true? Wouldn't it be a false alarm? He is a sensitive and introverted child. It's better to keep uncertainties secret for now. Old man Lin thought it made sense, so he suppressed his excitement and said, Then you have to take good care of him. I'll contact his grandmother now. Click, the video call was hung up. Lin Miaomiao stared at the communicator with a deep hatred and said, It's not confirmed yet. Even Grandma has come out. Yi Hongwen comforted her. That's because Grandpa trusts your judgment. You should feel happy. Happy is ridiculous. Lin Miaomiao complained dissatisfiedly. It's not confirmed yet, and Grandpa hung up on me just for him. I used to hang up first. It turned out that he was jealous. Yi Hongwen found it a little funny. You think too much? Your family loves you so much. How could you fall out of favor? Back then, he'd suffered a lot when he went to the Lin family. He was secretly dragged away and beaten by Lin's father and uncle, and summoned by old man Lin for questioning and lectures several times. Even the two Lin aunts blocked his door and lectured him for a long time. Not to mention the mischievous twins, who daily played pranks like throwing dead mice and setting small traps in his room. He'd kept it a secret for a fear of worrying Lin Miaomiao, but now, hearing his girlfriend worry about falling out of favor, he couldn't help but think she was overthinking it. Did they really do that? Lin Miaomiao was incredulous. But why didn't I know anything about it? They all lived in the same house, so it didn't make sense for her not to get any information. It didn't make sense. Yi Hongwen smiled bitterly. Because they knocked on the door in the middle of the night or got up early to block it. This happened when Lin Miaomiao was sound asleep, and the Lin family had teamed up to conceal the truth. As a victim, he didn't dare to speak up, lest they think he was irresponsible or a snitch. Now that it was over, Lin Miaomiao naturally didn't feel any pain, but rather was very happy. That's the case, then I'm relieved. Yi Hongwen breathed a sigh of relief. He had finally coaxed her into a good mood. So, should he take advantage of her good mood to get some benefits, such as not being kicked out at night? However, while he was still considering what to say to plead, Lin Miaomiao's video call rang. When he picked it up, Lin Yuhei appeared in front of them. Dad, Lin Miaomiao's eyes curved, and she asked happily, How come you have time to video message me at this time? Do you miss me? Stop it, Lin Yuhei said seriously. I have something important to talk to you about. The answer was not right. He had clearly said that he missed him before. Lin Miaomiao was quite depressed, and asked with drooping eyelids. What's the matter? Lin Yuhei asked straight to the point. I heard that you found Lin Yin's son, and he is in Shanghai now. It's not confirmed yet. Lin Miaomiao felt unhappy again. I only know that his mother is called Lin Yin, and she looks a lot like me, but it doesn't mean it must be him. There are so many people who look alike, but there are not many people who look alike and are named Lin Yin. Lin Yuhei retorted sharply. Okay, Grandpa has already contacted the old lady, and she will probably go to Shanghai to pick him up. You take good care of your brother. Without waiting for her to protest, Dad Lin hung up the video call. In the following time, Lin Miaomiao received several more video messages, all from her uncles and aunts. The content was nothing more than asking about things related to Lin Yuding, and then asking her to take good care of her brother. What made her crazy was that even the twins sent her a video message, asking her, take good care of your brother. Shen Yu is your man's territory after all. Don't let your brother get wronged. Lin Miaomiao was crazy. His mother is not Grandma's child. Don't you like Grandma the most? You actually care about him so much? What's wrong with these people? They are too well informed. It hasn't been long since she sent a video message to the old man. Could it be that the old man notified them one by one? Sister, How could you think that? Lin Xianshan was shocked. If Grandpa made a mistake after he met Grandma, we would definitely not like it, but that was a romantic debt left by Grandpa when he was young. We must understand his youthful recklessness at that time. Lin Miaomiao also said seriously, it's normal for men to make mistakes when they are young. And Grandpa is not irresponsible. It was his ex-lover who dumped him. As men, the twins understood Grandpa Lin very well, so they were quite tolerant. As long as the mistake was not made after he met Grandma, they could accept it. Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes. Although she thought so too, she was very upset to see everyone caring about her cousin who had not yet been confirmed. Obviously, all that care should belong to her, which made her want to roar to the sky. Have you ever thought about this? Lin Miaomiao looked at the twins dimly. If he is indeed our cousin, then Grandpa will definitely take him into the Lin family for education, and his grandmother will also be in contact with Grandpa, and we may even have another grandmother. The twins looked at each other in bewilderment. They had never thought about this. Grandpa is so old, will he still have a sunset red? Grandpa Lin, two little bastards, I'm not even 80 years old yet, I'm still young, how can I be old? After exchanging glances for a while, Lin Yin, as the representative, said, we need to think about this again, and we must meet the real person to see if she is qualified to be our grandmother, even if it was an old lover. If the old lady was already wrinkled, white-haired, and toothless, the old man probably wouldn't feel moved, although according to the current life expectancy, the old lady was actually not that old. The entangled twins quickly hung up the video call. Lin Miaomiao was furious. These people are too much? They all came to hang up my video call today. Do they think I'm easy to bully? Yi Hongwen was speechless. After watching for the whole afternoon, he could no longer find words to comfort his girlfriend. Even he felt that his girlfriend was realizing that she had fallen out of favor. It's time for dinner. Didn't you just make an appointment with Lin Yuding to go to the cafeteria at 5:30? Yi Hongwen reminded dryly. He was a little unsure whether someone was willing to keep the appointment after being hit hard for the whole afternoon. What? Lin Miaomiao was shocked. Why didn't you remind me earlier? What if I made him wait for too long and he thought I broke the appointment? Lin Miaomiao jumped up from the sofa and ran to the door in a hurry. Yi Hongwen was speechless. What on earth was this? He thought she didn't want to go. Chapter 363 One Vote One Rematch. The sadness of falling out of favor didn't bother Lin Miaomiao for long, because in the first match of the rematch, out of the 10 groups of 20 Mecha Masters, her name was surprisingly ranked 9th. 80% of the top 100 were level 5 Mecha Masters, and the rest were level 4 Mecha Masters. As for the level 3 Mecha Masters, they had already withdrawn from the competition platform, although it was not their own will. Continuing her good luck in the preliminary round, her opponent in this competition was also a level 4 Mecha Master. Before Lin Miaomiao had time to rejoice, she discovered that although they were both female Mecha Masters, her opponent had a very strong aura. For example, she looked at people with squinting eyes. Since you are from the last place fleet, I will give you a chance to surrender, so as to avoid the psychological trauma of losing too quickly, the female Mecha Master said with squinting eyes, full of confidence. Lin Miaomiao was debating whether to summon the Mecha directly or to exchange some nonsense with her opponent first. After much hesitation, she finally offered a soft-hearted suggestion. Well, Tommy Guo, I think your eye problem is a bit serious. You should go to the military hospital for a checkup after the game. If the nerves become necrotic, it will be really ugly to look at people with squinting eyes. Who are you calling ugly? Tommy Guo screamed. Your eyes are the problem. Your whole family has eye problems. They're all squinting and ugly. I'm giving you a suggestion out of kindness, but you don't appreciate it, Lin Miaomiao said, displeased. It's really hard to be a good person these days. She should just act quickly. So she summoned Aoksu and boarded the mecha. Tommy Guo was stunned. How could this person be like this? He actually boarded the mecha without even saying hello. Did he really take her seriously? Don't forget, she's from the Jinghong fleet. Get down here right now, Tang Miguo yelled angrily, looking up at Aoksu. You little bastard, you got on your mecha without even saying hello? Don't you Shenai people have any sense of shame? Are you annoying? We're fighting, not having a feast. Who has the time to be polite to you? Lin Miaomiao impatiently turned on the loudspeaker. If you want to compete, do it. If not, get out of here. Tang Miguo felt wronged. In all her matches, this was the first time she'd encountered such an impolite opponent. No wonder Shenai always ranked last, and this year was no exception. Thinking of the sad faces of the people in Shenai when they heard they were last, Tang Miguo finally felt better. Forget it, she said arrogantly, I'm a kind-hearted girl. I won't bother with such an impolite fellow like you. Anyway, the result will be the same whether you Shenai fight or not. After saying this, Tang Miguo felt that she had finally vented her anger and slowly summoned her pink mecha, which even wore a small crown on its head. You're comparing yourself to little princess, don't you see how cloying pink is? Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but grumble. She truly hated such narcissists and always wanted to give them a beating. Well, this princess-like person successfully galvanized Lin Miaomiao's fighting spirit. After the pink mecha's cabin closed, she continued her quick-witted style of preemptive attack and fired a cannon at the pink mecha. Perhaps to facilitate conversation, or perhaps out of confidence in her own abilities. Tang Miguo had approached Lin Miaomiao before the match. Now, under attack, he found it difficult to dodge, whether up or down, left or right, with no time to evade them all. You bastard, you didn't even warn me before you fired, Tang Miguo cursed angrily, manipulating the mecha to fall backwards, rolling away the instant he hit the ground, saving his mecha in a split second. Lin Miaomiao's eyes lit up instantly. She was familiar with this move, having practiced it countless times. It was indeed an essential escape move. However, she had rarely used it since joining the fleet, fearing the ridicule of the veterans. But after seeing her opponent use it, she felt it was time to pick it up again. The first strike failed, and Lin Miaomiao felt a pity. That move had wasted a lot of her time, and he would be the only one to suffer. Based on the fighting style of the previous few days, they should be preparing to use cold weapons, so Lin Miaomiao consciously unleashed her great sword. She could hold her own against a level 5 mecha master for hours, so what was she afraid of against a level 4 mecha master? Lin Miaomiao hadn't expected the opponent to play by the rules at all. After dodging her attacks, he leaped up and fired a series of shots directly at Aoksu, intending to end the battle quickly. The intense barrage proved difficult to handle. In this critical moment, Lin Miaomiao copied Tang Miguo's dodging technique, but her rolling speed was noticeably faster than her opponent's, quickly tumbling to the corner of the wall, away from the center of the explosion. She's not even conserving her energy. Does she think I'll just stand there and wait for her to blast her? Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but mutter. Master Miaomiao, let's blast her too, and see who can dodge the fastest. Aoksu eagerly awaited a try, confident she would be the fastest. This was the first time the virtual Aoksu spoke. Although the scanner had fully replicated Aoksu's data and memories onto the virtual network, it was still only newly generated data and couldn't quickly integrate with her master's memory, resulting in a significant decrease in Aoksu's strength. Fortunately, after several days of memory integration and training with her master, the virtual Aoksu finally gained some flexibility. Unfortunately, it was still just data, not the real Aoksu, and Lin Miaomiao still lacked rapport with it. I think we should hide first. Once her energy card runs out, she'll be at our mercy, Lin Miaomiao said seriously. That made perfect sense, and Data Aoksu quickly agreed, beginning to dodge with all her might. Tang Miguo, furious as her attacks were constantly dodged, began to panic inside her mech. Seeing her energy card nearly depleted, she began to panic. Why are you dodging? Stop and play properly. Lin Miaomiao was embarrassed. Did playing properly mean standing and fighting? The thought of the two mechas standing there like idiots, and she found it quite amusing. Stop. Stop. Are all you Shenyu people capable of running for your lives? Tang Miguo blurted out in anger. She didn't want to lose, but now she realized she'd made the grave mistake of underestimating her opponent. Even the level 4 mech pilot from the last place fleet had outmaneuvered her. She feared she'd be ridiculed by her teammates when she returned. Thinking of the dark scene, Tang Miguo felt her eyes darken, and she continued to shout and provoke, hoping the enemy would be provoked into stopping. However, Lin Miaomiao had great composure. Not only did she not stop, but she also mocked her opponent who had stopped bombarding. You idiot, you actually thought I would stand there and fight you. Now your energy card is exhausted, you are dumbfounded, right? If I were you, I would just stop and wait to die. Anyway, the mecha has no energy left. At this moment, the pink mecha has switched to cold weapon attacks, waving her longsword and chasing after Aoksu. Lin Miaomiao dodged while talking, and from time to time, fired a few laser bombs with low energy consumption and small attack range at the pink mecha. Chapter 364 1 Vote 1 Rematch. Perhaps spoiled, perhaps because Lin Miaomiao's provocation and ridicule, coupled with his nearly depleted energy, irritated Tamiguo, he abandoned his cold weapons and concentrated his firepower on Aoksu. You lousy mech dares to compete with me, Pink? I'll show you how powerful we are, Tamiguo shrieked. Even the name is so cheesy, aren't you all in the fleet laughing your asses off? Lin Miaomiao retorted. I'm so pissed, Tamiguo commanded. Finky, hit me. Can you stand this ugly bastard showing off in front of you? As the saying goes, a mech is like its master. Pink is just as jealous as a human, and upon hearing this, she coordinated with her master's mental power to launch a full-strength attack. Lin Miaomiao was surprised to see the pink mech pause to gather its full strength. It was simply walking itself into the crosshairs. She'd never seen such a daft and adorable mech pilot. Seizing the opportunity, she immediately commanded Aoksu to attract. She still had plenty of energy, no need to pause to gather it. With a single command, a cannon barrel emerged from Aoksu's chest, launching a series of attacks at Fanfan. The first strike struck the cannon barrel, which was gathering energy, blocking its nearly complete power and destroying it. The second strike was aimed directly at Fanfan's mecha cabin. Boom! After a loud bang, Fanfan's strongest attack didn't arrive, dissipating in the barrage. I thought this would be a protracted battle, but it's over so quickly, Lin Miaomiao muttered to herself, slowly exiting the battle room and returning to the players' waiting area. She had to restore her mecha. Aoksu's energy was almost depleted. Just as she stood still in the waiting area, a dark figure whirled towards her. Lin Miaomiao couldn't dodge and was caught directly in the act. Then she saw that it was Tamiguo, whom she had just sent out. How dare you sneak attack me while I'm gathering my strength? How shameless, Tamiguo yelled and was about to hit someone, not caring at all that there were many spectators present with him. Let go, Lin Miaomiao frowned. She had never met anyone with such a serious princess syndrome. During the competition, of course, everyone relied on their own abilities, and there was no such thing as a sneak attack. No. Unless you go with me to the referee to admit your mistake and return the qualification for the promotion to me, otherwise I will definitely teach you a lesson. Tamiguo did not think that he was dreaming at all. He just naively believed that as long as Lin Miaomiao was willing, the judges would agree. This was the first time that Tamiguo had qualified for the ranking competition, and someone had even voluntarily given up. The person who screened the contestants was a team leader of Jinghong, who had ulterior motives for her and passed her, which made her think that the same could be done in the official competition. Lin Miaomiao could only roll her eyes at her wishful thinking. You're dreaming. Why should I give you the qualification? Because you stole it from me, Tamiguo said confidently. Lin Miaomiao sneered, since it's a competition, the qualification is a two-way struggle. How dare you ask me to give in after you lost? Tamiguo was stunned. She knew she was wrong, and she knew no one would give up their qualification for no reason. But before going to the military headquarters for the competition, she made bold promises to the jealous people in the fleet that she would definitely make it to the finals. However, reality slapped her in the face. She lost the first match of the semi-finals, and it was all due to her own carelessness. In her opinion, Lin Miaomiao was not as good as she was. At this thought, Tamiguo's eyes flashed with ferocity, and he reached out to strangle Lin Miaomiao. You're just a mech pilot from a low-tier fleet, your abilities are limited, and you only advance by taking advantage. You're going to lose anyway, so give me your qualification back. Lin Miaomiao hadn't expected such drastic action, and was only a fraction of a second late when the stranglehold was placed on her. Although she knew nothing could really happen on the virtual network, she was still a little panicked. You're crazy. Do you know what you're doing? The mech pilots gathered around to watch the excitement were also shocked. Wow, this is a violent act over a disagreement. Shen Yu's men rushed over to help. Sure, strangulation on the virtual network couldn't kill, but the suffocating feeling was still palpable. Liu Yifei was agile, and as Shen Yu's team leader, he was naturally the first to rush in. Of course, the others weren't much slower either. If the boss knew they were there and the young cook was being strangled by the crazy woman, they would be in big trouble. Stop it, you crazy bitch. How dare you touch our people, Liu Yifei howled, trying to pull Tamiguo's hands away. The male team member who had followed a little later also helped, while the female team member reached out and pinched her fiercely. There were still some members of the Jinghong fleet, but they were few in number. They followed but hesitated and stood aside to watch. They didn't like Tang Migao's personality to begin with, and now she was being unreasonable. There was no room for compromise when it came to qualifying for the competition. Tang Migao was outnumbered and quickly pulled down by Shen Yu. She was also pinched by many unscrupulous hands. Her face was contorted with pain. Seeing her teammates standing nearby, she screamed, "You bastards! You didn't come to help your own teammate when he was being bullied. Are you willing to let Shen Yu trample on your heads?" The Jinghong team members who had been hesitant suddenly made up their minds and turned to the waiting area door. They had already left after the competition. "I didn't see anything." Some hesitated. "She's got some connection to Captain 5. Will she complain when she gets back? It'll be terrible if Captain 5 causes trouble for us," the older team members scoffed. "What's there to be afraid of? She's just a captain. She could be removed at any moment. Besides, that girl has hit a wall this time. I've heard the person she wants to bully is Captain Shen Yu's fiancée, and she's an acquaintance of our captain. After doing something like this, they'll probably be transferred out of Jinghong, either to one of those smaller fleets or forced to retire, with no future prospects. Don't try to use the excuse of being unable to kill people online, and don't even think about joking. The people above are not to be fooled. Everyone knows that Captain Ren of Jinghong has a strong eye for those with bad behavior, no matter how capable they are." All of Jinghong's people left, and Tang Migao, who was left behind, looked at the people who surrounded her in horror and said in a trembling voice, "What do you want to do? Get away from me. What do you think we want to do?" Liu Yifei laughed. "You bullied our teammates. Don't you think you deserve some retribution?" In fact, they didn't really want to do anything. It was Tang Migao's fault for taking action, but if they joined forces to retaliate, they would be the ones who were wrong. So Liu Yifei and others saw that she was so scared that she even forgot to log off, and couldn't help but step forward to intimidate her. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 365: The Impatient Old Man. With just a few words, Yu Hongwen flung Tang Migao into the harsh Fengjia fleet, avenging his girlfriend and feeling incredibly proud. Upon returning to the ship, he informed Lin Miaomiao of his exploits, earning her a kiss and the privilege of not having to spend the night alone. Although she prided herself on being beautiful, Lin Miaomiao admitted she could be a bit petty. While minor offenses might be fine, she took it personally when her life was endangered, as when Ji Ziyan maliciously provoked her into overexerting her mental energy, or when Shang Ruinan pushed her into the lake in an attempt to drown her. Therefore, Lin Miaomiao appreciated her boyfriend's proactive discovery of her plight and his timely avenging of her, retracting her initial plans to shut him out before the competition was over. The day after the 1v1 rematch, Yu Hongwen, beaming with joy, took his girlfriend for breakfast before departing for military headquarters. Just as she was about to board the ship, Lin Miaomiao received a video message from Mr. Lin. It wasn't even 7:30 yet, and he was already video messaging her. Grandpa was incredibly diligent. Could he have inquired about his precious grandson? A certain cook secretly grumbled. Furthermore, she genuinely felt that the old man's background looked familiar. Before she could fully comprehend, Yu Hongwen spoke first. "Grandpa, you're at the entrance to Changguang," Lin Miaomiao suddenly realized. No wonder she felt familiar. Wasn't he at the entrance to Changguang? Unable to resist, she barked, "Grandpa, why are you running to Changguang so early in the morning? No, I should say, you're actually running to Shaoyingxing. Aren't you very busy?" Grandpa Lin cleared his throat, his expression slightly uneasy. "I took a few days off to check on Xiao Yudang's matter. Time was tight, so I left at night." "So how many days did you take off?" Lin Miaomiao pressed. "Why are you asking so many questions? Are you free? If you are, come pick me up. If not, ask your eldest brother to come." The old man's face darkened. His granddaughter had truly been spoiled by them. She demanded to know everything. As for why he didn't just call his grandson who didn't participate in the game to pick them up, it was because the old man felt that his granddaughter was more obedient and wouldn't ask questions and look for opportunities to laugh at him. But now it seems that his granddaughter has actually turned bad and must have been led astray by others. The old man directed his condemning eyes at Yi Hongwen. Yi Hongwen, who was also shot while lying down, was contacting Gu Qingheng to take over his job. Now that his girlfriend's grandfather was here, he must accompany him well and make more impressions. Lin Miaomiao said, "Grandpa, please sit down for a while. I'll come to pick you up soon." The next standing games had nothing to do with her. She would only go to watch the games. Now that her grandfather was here, she naturally had to entertain him well. The little cousin was a cute thing. What if he took advantage of her absence and snatched all the old man's favor? After the video call ended, Yi Hongwen had already efficiently deferred all the work to the deputy captain, and took his girlfriend to pick up her grandfather. After boarding the flying car, Lin Miaomiao remembered that she should tell her eldest brother the news, so she sent another text to Lin Xianhao. The eldest brother of the Lin family was furious upon receiving the text. He had been in the fleet for so long, and Grandpa hadn't mentioned coming to visit. His younger sister was only 6 months old, and they had been home together a while ago, yet Grandpa couldn't help but come to visit. What a bias! Despite his anger, Lin Xianhao quickly called his wife down from the Shenyu. With the elders here, the granddaughter-in-law had to make her presence known and get the old man to pay more attention to her eldest grandson. By then, Lin Miaomiao and Lin Xianhao had already arrived at the Chengguang gate and saw Grandpa Lin standing there, looking out. They had no idea what their eldest brother had misunderstood, let alone that he didn't know anything about Lin Yudang. "Grandpa, why don't you go in and wait?" Lin Miaomiao jumped out of the car and looked at him helplessly. "The car is open 24 hours a day, wouldn't it be better to wait inside? You know, the weather is still very cold now." "I want to get some fresh air," Grandpa Lin answered vaguely, stretching his neck to look inside the car, hoping that there were still people who hadn't gotten off. Lin Miaomiao was a little confused when he looked at his actions at first, but later he understood and said unhappily, "Don't look, he doesn't know anything yet, how could I bring him to see you?" Grandpa Lin was depressed. Why didn't he say anything until now? He kept waiting for a long time and stood at the door blowing the cold wind for a long time. If he had known earlier, he would have gone in and waited. Seeing her grandfather's unhappy look, Lin Miaomiao became even more unhappy, and said directly, "Grandpa, you can't do this. You throw me, the old one, aside when you have a new one. You are biased. I shouldn't have told you if I had known." Grandpa Lin was startled by his granddaughter's sudden temper. After he understood what was going on, he said with a smile, "You are so old and still jealous, but he is not young either." Lin Miaomiao retorted without hesitation, "He is only 3 years younger than me." Grandpa Lin was speechless. "He is not an adult yet, and I just feel that I owe his mother a lot, and I want to compensate him more. Aren't you the one I love the most, is that so?" Lin Miaomiao thought about it and felt that it made sense. The old man only found out that he had a daughter at such an old age, and he lost her as soon as he found out. He felt very indebted, so naturally he would transfer the debt to the surviving grandson. After figuring it out, she felt relieved and took the initiative to step forward and take her grandfather's hand. "Let's go to the base first, and then go directly to his room to find him. By the way, Grandpa, you haven't had breakfast yet, right?" Old man Lin shook his head, "Not yet. How can I have the mood to eat when things are not confirmed?" Lin Miaomiao looked at him disapprovingly. "This matter can't be rushed. I have to explain the cause and effect of the matter to Brother Lin. It will take quite a bit of time. When we get back to the base, I'll take you to eat something." As he spoke, he took the old man to the car and drove straight to the Shenyu base. The car stopped at the wall, and several people were about to get off and walk in. Grandpa Lin, being a soldier himself, understood the rules of the base and didn't say anything, but was quite interested in the polygonal door. "How do you open such an artistic door?" Lin Miaomiao curled her lips and glanced at Yi Hongwen. "You should ask him. If you let the robot open the door, it wouldn't be like this. Why do we have to find someone to do it?" "Oh, there is such a thing." Grandpa Lin was surprised. "Why do we have to use manual labor? Aren't robots faster and more convenient?" "You can't blame me for this." Yi Hongwen shirked responsibility without changing his expression. The robot was busy that day, and Miaomiao was anxious to visit. When she saw there was no door, she climbed over the wall and fell down. "I was afraid that she would be anxious, so I asked someone to open the door." Grandpa Lin was shocked. His granddaughter was so impatient. She climbed over the wall when there was no door. She was worthy of being a member of their Lin family. Lin Miaomiao was angry. Such a long ago thing was brought up again. How could they still be friends happily? Bad review. Chapter 366 Shock and Resistance. After discussing the polygonal door of art, the three of them walked towards the base and ran into Lin Xianhao and Ren Jiaojio, who were dressed very smartly. When they saw the old man, they both shouted, "Grandpa, you're here." "Yes, I'm here." Grandpa Lin nodded seriously. "You're here too, aren't you busy?" Lin Xianhao said with a smile, "It's a rare occasion for you to visit relatives at the base, and no matter how busy we are, we have to come to pick you up. Grandpa didn't have breakfast, right? Do you want to go to the cafeteria to have something to eat, or go to my younger sister's place and ask her to make you a bowl of noodles?" "Go to the cafeteria." Grandpa Lin made the choice without hesitation, "and go see Yu Tang early after you finish eating." "Yu Tang? Who is that?" Lin Xianhao was confused. "You don't know who he is?" Lin Miaomiao and old man Lin asked in unison. After a pause, they turned to each other. "You didn't tell him?" Well, now they were certain they had indeed left out Lin Xianhao. So someone still didn't know why their grandfather was here. So, while the old man was having breakfast, Lin Miaomiao had to explain to her eldest brother and sister-in-law. After hearing the story, Ren Jiaojio couldn't help but marvel at the dramatic coincidence. Lin Xianhao complained a little disgruntledly, "Everyone knew, why didn't they tell Jiaojio and me?" Lin Miaomiao pleaded innocent. "Grandpa informed everyone. I didn't know he'd leave you out." Old man Lin, who was sipping his porridge, immediately defended himself. "You and your sister were in the same fleet. I thought she should have told you first." The grandfather and grandson blamed each other, leaving the young couple, who had been kept in the dark, to accept the consequences. After all, no matter who it was, old or young, they couldn't bring themselves to blame. After breakfast, Grandpa Lin urged the others to take him to meet someone, so the helpless few could only take him to the boys' dormitory. Little Lin usually studied online at this time. "Let him go to school in the future, studying on his own is too hard," Grandpa Lin said. Lin Miaomiao nodded in agreement. Self-study was indeed difficult, but it was a little too early for Grandpa to say that. Could he be so sure that Lin Yuding was his biological grandson? Recalling Grandpa's words and actions after his arrival, Lin Miaomiao felt that he had come to the truth. Grandpa must have received reliable information from his first love, which was why he rushed over so eagerly. Lin Yuding lived in room 709 of the boys' dormitory. He was studying online when the doorbell rang. He hurriedly logged off when he heard the notification that someone was knocking at the door. As soon as he opened the door, a group of people pushed him in without saying a word. If most of them were acquaintances and this was not the fleet base, he would have thought he was being robbed. "Captain, Sister Lin, aren't you going to participate in the competition?" Lin Yuding was a little puzzled. "What do you want to talk to me about?" Lin Miaomiao glanced at everyone and saw that they were all silent. Grandpa Lin was just staring at people. She could only speak first. "I have something to tell you. I hope you can calm down after listening." Lin Yuding felt a little dizzy. Why did these words sound like an ominous premonition? Could it be that the fleet felt that it was not good for him to stay here and wanted to send him to an orphanage, and this strange old man was the director of the orphanage? Grandpa Lin flipped the table. "How do I look old? I don't even have a single white hair. I look very young." He wanted to ask clearly, but was embarrassed to ask. He couldn't do anything by staying in the fleet. Instead, he would add to the burden of everyone. So he replied in a low voice, "Sister Lin, go ahead and talk. I promise to listen to you quietly." No matter what Lin Miaomiao wanted to say to him, he had made up his mind. As long as she asked, he would do it. Lin Miaomiao had no idea of the chaotic thoughts in his mind. She just thought she had fulfilled her obligation to tell him, so she cleared her throat and told him the whole story of how he might be her cousin and how she found out. After finishing her story, she ignored Lin Yuding's dazed expression and pushed her grandfather out. "So, Grandpa came to see you specially and was ready to take you home." Grandpa Lin looked at Lin Yuding expectantly, but he said blankly, "I thought you were going to send me to an orphanage." "Silly child, you have relatives. Why would they send you to an orphanage?" Grandpa Lin said kindly. Lin Yuding awoke from his shock, but he didn't rush to acknowledge his relatives. Instead, he calmly asked, "You say I'm the Lin family's grandson. Do you have any evidence?" "I have evidence." Old man Lin nodded hurriedly. I contacted your grandmother and asked. She said your real name was Bai Yudang, and you took your mother's surname after the divorce. There's a large red mole on your back. The details matched, but Lin Yudang still refused to believe it. Some things might just be coincidences. Maybe you've made a mistake. Lin Miaomiao noticed his reluctance and sighed softly. He probably didn't want to acknowledge the relatives who had come to visit him. Perhaps he had many grievances in his heart because they hadn't found him during those difficult years. However, judging by his reaction, the old man's words must have been true. So the matter was already confirmed, but he was just being stubborn and refusing to admit it. Now that he had been found, he had to be recognized back in the Lin family. No matter how good Shen Yu's life was, it couldn't compare to a normal, warm home. Having made up his mind, Lin Miaomiao suggested, since you don't believe it, let's go to the hospital for a genetic test. The fleet's infirmary didn't have the equipment to do a genetic test, so the military hospital, which was fully equipped, would suffice. Then let's go. Let's check his genes and his grandfather's for a comparison. Lin Xianhao agreed. Lin Yudang opened his mouth to object, but Lin Xianhao didn't give him a chance. He walked up to him and pulled him out with a grin, saying as they walked, we didn't know we had an aunt since we were little. Some time ago, someone told Miaomiao about your mother, so our family went to check, and found out we actually had an aunt. Grandpa was stunned on the spot, and his expression was so funny. You didn't know. Lin Yudang was so shocked that he forgot to struggle. How could it be? You have to blame Grandpa. Lin Xianhao ignored the old man's vicious glare and explained in a very asking for a beating. I guess Grandpa wasn't charming enough. Your grandmother ran away with a ball and left a message saying she didn't like him anymore. Grandpa was devastated, and he didn't know she was pregnant, so he didn't go to look for her. Lin Yudang seemed to have refreshed his three views. The look in the old man's eyes changed from strange resistance to sympathy, and his expression softened a lot, no longer as gloomy as at the beginning. If he didn't know, then there would be no need for him to hold a grudge. Moreover, after recognizing her as a relative, Miaomiao would be his legitimate sister, and he wanted such a gentle sister. Chapter 367, What a Big Black Pot. Even after softening his stance, Lin Yudang still insisted on a genetic comparison. His temperament had become somewhat withdrawn, even autistic in some eyes. This was the reason Third Master hadn't dealt with him after his mother's death. He still remembered the day his mother died, when Third Master arrived upon hearing the news. He first lamented, another beautiful woman lost for his pleasure, then stared intently at him. The people accompanying him asked if they wanted to send the little brat along, to avoid future trouble. However, Third Master said, such a cowardly little bastard, he couldn't even cry over his mother's death. How could he possibly rise up against the odds? Keep him, and don't give him the chance to learn mechas. In a few years, he'll be a little beauty again. Lin Yudang was no fool. His tears had dried long before they showed up, and now, he didn't want to accept his relationship based on a few words. What if it turned out to be a misunderstanding? How would he feel? Although the Lin family noticed his concern, they kept quiet. It wasn't that they didn't trust their own judgment, but rather that they wanted to reassure Lin Yudang. Old Master Lin was amused. The Lin family wasn't aloof. This child gave off a good vibe. As long as they brought him home, they wouldn't regret even if they made a mistake, because they could afford to raise him. Ultimately, they drove to the military hospital. The headquarters was located in the heart of Shaoyin Star, a journey that would only take a few minutes by warship, but it took over 2 hours by car, leaving Lin Miaomiao feeling frustrated. No wonder your dad's on Shaoyin Star. You're too lazy to visit him often. The car rides are too long. Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but complain. On the day they first met Yi's Hanggang, after lunch, when the others had left, the four of them sat and chatted for a while. At that time, Yi's father had complained that raising a son was a waste of time, since they lived on the same planet but didn't even come to see him. Don't listen to that old man's nonsense. I visit him several times a year, Yi Hongwen said in self-defense. The genetic testing room is at the end of the corridor on the second floor. There are no other patients there at this time. Yi Hongwen directly handed the card he received to the doctor. The doctor held the card to the card reader of the optical computer for a few seconds, and then handed him 2 small test tubes. Go to the blood room to collect blood. Yi Hongwen took the test tube without saying a word, and led a group of people to the blood room. Behind them, the doctor muttered softly, this name looks familiar, Lin Yin. Lin. Wow, Isn't he the lieutenant general who is in charge of Shaoyin Star? He is so old and still has a private. Lin Miaomiao and others turned their heads to look at the old man, but saw that he continued to walk forward without changing his expression, so they sighed, worthy of being a general who has experienced ups and downs, and he was so calm when hearing people talking about his gossip. Grandpa, aren't you angry? Lin Miaomiao pressed on relentlessly. He said little brother Lin was your illegitimate son. Grandpa Lin calmly replied, once the results come out, he'll know he was mistaken. That's pretty much the same. It's just an illegitimate child becoming an illegitimate grandson. Lin Xianhao found the old man's composure completely incomprehensible. Far from it, Grandpa Lin replied, but refused to explain further. The Lin siblings looked at each other, completely confused as to what was going on. It was Yi Hongwen who finally provided the answer. Once everyone knew he was a grandson, they'd just think Yudeng was the child of Uncle Lin and his 3 brothers. In other words, if they didn't publicly reveal the truth, the 3 Lin brothers would have to take the blame for their father's death. The perfect person to do it was Lin Yuhei. After all, Lin Yuquan couldn't have given birth to a son that big, and Lin Yu who had a loving wife and was in the military, too busy to mess around. Being a widower, he was the perfect choice. Isn't that a bad idea? Lin Yudeng asked, feeling uneasy. It's okay, Lin Miaomiao didn't mind. Then I'll have a biological brother instead of a cousin. After hearing the explanation, anyone with a brain could figure out that Grandpa Lin let his son take the blame in order to protect Lin Yudeng and to legitimately obtain his custody. It's normal to raise your own grandson. Lin Xianhao was the older one, and he didn't have any objections to having a younger brother. Instead, he said with a gloating look, Dad must be in trouble. After the news about Yudeng is announced, there will probably be a lot of people asking who the mother of the child is, why he didn't marry her home, and whether he abandoned her after having an affair. Lin Miaomiao tacitly interjected, there are also many people who want to be my stepmother complaining about why they can accept others but not her. Their talk of unrepentant love and lingering about their deceased lover is all fake. After pretending to be so serious, the brother and sister laughed insincerely. Ren Jiao and Yi Hongwen couldn't help but mourn for Lin's father. It must be hard for him to have such a pair of children who are eager to create chaos in the world. After collecting blood, the group returned to the genetic testing room and carefully handed the test tubes to the doctor. Lin Miaomiao watched as the doctor placed the tubes directly into a nearby computer connected to a light-based computer and pressed the green start button. The machine churned silently, and 2 rows of numbers appeared on the computer's virtual screen. They kept changing like a revolving lantern, dazzling the eyes, seemingly without pause. After a few minutes, the numbers finally stopped, began to shrink, and divided into groups for automatic comparison. The comparison took a long time. Everyone waited a full quarter of an hour before the results appeared on the screen. After carefully reading the examination report, the doctor said to Lin Qian and Lin Yudeng, after comparison, the 2 genes have a 40% similarity, and are related by blood, but the father-son relationship is ruled out. The genetic similarity is relatively high, so it should be a grandfather-son relationship. After the results came out, everyone remained calm, because such a result was expected. Lin Miaomiao even patted Lin Yudeng on the shoulder and said, I told you that you are my younger brother, but you didn't believe it and insisted on doing a genetic comparison. Now you believe it at least. The doctor suddenly realized that this young man was the romantic dad of General Lin's eldest son. Chapter 368 1 Vote 1 Rematch. Lin Miaomiao passed the 100-50 competition smoothly, but when it came to the 50-25 competition, no one had any expectations for her anymore, because she was already the only level 4 mecha master in the top 50. Apart from her, Shen Yu only had Luo Cheng and Fan Lei who were still qualified to participate. Before the competition, everyone applauded and cheered Luo Fan and the others. But when it came to her turn, there were resentful cries, don't be nervous, little chef. The most important thing is to participate. You're lucky to be in the top 50, that's right, just participate. Friendship comes first, competition comes second. You don't need to feel too burdened, little chef, go forward with the grace. I'll always support you, even if this is your last chance. Even Grandpa Lin, in high spirits after finding his grandson, encouraged her, the Lin family is great. Win or lose, everyone will silently support you. Just participate and you'll be a hero. Lin Miaomiao was silent. Don't any of you believe I can win? Are my skills really that bad? How could you possibly win? Everyone asked in unison. No matter which match she was drawn, her opponent would be a level 5 mecha pilot. A level 4 versus a level 5 was practically impossible. She could only console herself by saying that participation was the most important thing. Fortunately, she still had someone to support her newly found brother, Lin Yin. "Keep going, sister. I believe in you. You can definitely win the championship," Lin Yin said shyly. Lin Miaomiao covered her face. She thought, forget it. The championship was a million miles away from her. She would be satisfied just by making it into the top 25. "I'll make it into the top 25. You scumbags, just watch from the back," Lin Miaomiao boasted with a blank expression. Although they didn't want to discourage her, everyone still shook their heads and sighed. "Just try your best, Miaomiao. You should not have too much pressure," Old Master Lin said earnestly. "Miaomiao, Grandpa knows you are very strong, but some things can't be achieved by being strong, so you'd better be down to earth." "No, I believe in myself." Lin Miaomiao didn't listen to any advice. She was so angry that she couldn't help but said, "If you don't believe me, let's make a bet." "What bet?" Someone spoke up quickly, and then immediately shut up after receiving the condemning eyes of the crowd, and said with a sad face, "I didn't mean it," or, he wanted to say forget it, but Lin Miaomiao refused to give him a chance to regret, and said directly, "If I lose this game, I will treat everyone to a meal at the Lin's restaurant." Everyone looked at each other. This condition seemed very good. Thinking about the delicious meal and the little cook's wealth, they agreed without backbone. "Thank you, little cook." "No thanks, you might not even be able to enjoy this feast." Lin Miaomiao's eyes flashed with cunning. After this match, she wasn't confident she'd win, but she still had a secret weapon to reveal. "By the way, if I win, what are your plans?" This was a practical question. Everyone pondered for a long time, and Liu Yifei tentatively asked, "How about we treat you too?" Lin Miaomiao curled her lips in disdain. "I run a restaurant, and I need you to treat me? Besides, with so many of you treating me to a meal, each of you only has to contribute a few credit points. That's too stingy." Liu Yifei burst into tears. He felt stingy, too. But they were truly broke and couldn't come up with equivalent chips. If nothing else, they would have to say goodbye to the delicious feast. "What suggestions do you have, little chef?" When Zixi kicked the ball back. Although he felt Lin Miaomiao had little chance of winning, he was also prepared for the possibility. If she said too much about the chips, he'd feel embarrassed. After all, these were all her teammates. If she said too little, they wouldn't be the ones to suffer. Lin Miaomiao curled her lips, thinking, what a fox. He actually wanted her to back down. Fortunately, she hadn't planned on eating their meal in the first place. "How about this? You don't have to treat me to dinner. When the results come in, if I win, you can swim 8 or 10 laps in the lake at the base. How about that, winter swimming? Will it turn into ice in this cold?" Liu Yifei muttered. "What's there to be afraid of? She can't beat a level 5 mecha pilot anyway." When Zixi decided to go for it. This was the young cook's idea, and the boss couldn't blame him anymore. The negotiation was done, and the draw for the competition arrived. This time, the 50-25 competition had fewer groups, with only 10 players drawn in each round. Lin Miaomiao didn't get the first round draw this time, but was in the third round, facing Wu Ying of the Boundless Fleet. Wu Ying was a cautious person. She hadn't expected a level 4 mech operator to make the top 50, and she hadn't seen Lin Miaomiao's match. However, since it was the third match, she had plenty of time to ask her teammates if anyone knew anything. Carefulness always pays off, and Wu Ying learned some information from her teammates, such as the opponent's mech's ability to grow, the ice soldier's grease ward, and the type of thermal weaponry they had. When the match began, Wu Ying summoned her mech immediately, as her opponent wasn't known for greetings or opening remarks. It had to be said that Wu Ying's action was quite timely. Lin Miaomiao was rather disappointed that she didn't say anything harsh. If the opponent had muttered a few words and delayed the mech's deployment, the match would have ended almost immediately. Wu Ying's mech was also silver-white, somewhat similar to Aoxu's, but Lin Miaomiao firmly believed that Aoxu was prettier. "Her mech's paint isn't even shiny," Aoxu said cheerfully. "Of course. Even if it imitated me, it wouldn't be any use. It's not as pretty or as elegant as me." Lin Miaomiao frowned. How could a mech have such a thing as elegance? How could she not see that? But Aoxu was a chatterbox. Even a mere piece of copied data would be chatty. She wasn't about to provoke it. With both mechas in their mechas, the battle was imminent. In an instant, the two mechas were clashing, both choosing to use cold weapons. A great sword too, Aoxa yelled in dismay. Master Miaomiao, we must defeat it. Copying my appearance and equipment, it's desperate. Lin Miaomiao felt so exhausted by the mech's boastfulness. Why was her mech so lively? Wouldn't it be better to be more stable? Aoxu, shut up. If you interrupt my game again, I'll paint you a bleak green and make you a cuckold, Lin Miaomiao threatened bluntly. Such a lively mecha can't be spoiled. If you dote on it too quickly, it'll be a disaster, it'll break down at any moment. Facts have proven that threatening Aoxu with appearance is very effective. As soon as Lin Miaomiao finished speaking, Aoxu shut up and worked diligently, even performing beyond her normal level. This made her feel amused and at the same time reflective. Could it be that she had been too indulgent in the past, and had spoiled Aoxu into such a funny person? Chapter 369 1 Vote 1 Rematch. Aoxu stopped letting him down, and the precarious situation improved considerably. At least, he was no longer just passively defending like before, and could occasionally land a strike or two. Don't despise one or two attacks as insignificant. At least when Lin Miaomiao and when Zixi were fighting, they had little chance to counterattack. It wasn't that when Zixi was stronger than Wu Ying, but that everyone's mecha brain was reduced in power after being copied into the virtual network. Aoxu had no idea that she was just a consciousness, and to avoid being painted green, she overperformed. As for why Lin Miaomiao knew it so clearly, it was because after several successful counterattacks, she praised Aoxu a few words, and it immediately whimpered, I didn't disturb Master Miaomiao's competition, please don't paint it a miserable green, okay, I'll forgive you this time. Remember to be good in the future and work hard like you do now, Lin Miaomiao coaxed. If you keep up, I'll ask a designer to change you into beautiful clothes after the ranking competition. Aoxu really took the bait. Really? That's great, I will always be good, I want to change into beautiful clothes. Having a goal means motivation. Aoxu's speed instantly increased a few points, and even Wu Ying could see it so obviously, which made her mutter, are the current 4th level mecha masters so difficult to deal with? Wu Ying suddenly felt a sense of crisis. She felt that if this continued, her mecha's intelligent brain would be hit to the point of losing morale, so she decided to fight quickly. She originally wanted to win the game safely. Wu Ying immediately retreated far behind the mech, sheathing her giant sword. The mech's arms quickly folded and reassembled, transforming into two massive energy cannons. A small laser cannon also emerged from the mech's head. Finally, they're getting serious, Lin Miaomiao muttered to herself. After so long, the battle was finally over. Since her opponent didn't use firearms, her secret weapon wouldn't be easy to hide. Boom, the energy cannon roared, accompanied by a sky-high flame. Fortunately, they were on a virtual platform, otherwise the house would have been blown apart. With 3 simultaneous attacks, all escape routes from above and to the left and right were blocked. Without hesitation, Lin Miaomiao commanded the mech to fall to the ground, swiftly rolling to the wall once more. As Wu Ying was chasing, she gave the command, fire the tracking missile. Aoxu quickly followed the command, leaping to her feet and firing a tracking missile at her opponent. Wu Ying ignored it, thinking it was just a jammer Lin Miaomiao was trying to block her from advancing. She easily dodged it and continued chasing, but she didn't notice the tracking missile raced forward a few meters before making a sharp turn, heading straight for her mech's cabin. By the time her AI alerted her, it was too late. Mech damage has reached 98.8%, about to disintegrate. The cold system notification echoed in Wu Ying's ears, and she slumped in her seat, a bit lost in thought. After the match, Lin Miaomiao appeared in the waiting area and saw her teammates, their faces filled with mixed emotions like oh shit, we're done. Their backs seemed to have darkened. Liu Yifei opened his mouth to speak when Wu Ying, from the other side of the waiting area, shuffled over, stopping only in front of Lin Miaomiao. Was she looking for trouble again? Lin Miaomiao was frustrated. Should she yell for help or protect him? Hey, little cook, you're so annoying. Do you want me to help you? Just cancel my bet, Liu Yifei said, trying to take advantage of the situation. Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes at him, thinking, if he doesn't want to help, then so be it. The bet can't be cancelled anyway. At worst, I could go back and complain to my boyfriend and have them do some manual labor or something. After a flurry of thoughts, she calmed down. She said coldly to Wu Ying, who had been staring at her for a long time without saying anything. "What do you want from me?" "I have something to ask you." Wu Ying was torn. She had a question but didn't know if she should ask it, fearing it would infringe on someone's privacy, yet she desperately wanted to know. Lin Miaomiao saw that this girl wasn't seeking revenge, which greatly relieved her. Her tone softened. "What's the matter? You just used a tracking bullet, right?" "I remember it was newly developed by the Heguan Group and not yet released to the public." Wu Ying's voice gradually dropped, her face reddening suspiciously. "And your last name is Lin, so are you from the Milulan Lin family?" "Yes, you guessed right," Lin Miaomiao admitted generously. She knew what the girl was up to. She wanted to install this tracking bullet through the back door. It wouldn't be a problem with other products, but the tracking bullet probably wouldn't work. It had defects that needed to be repaired, and it consumed too much energy. Basically, if the opponent didn't die after using it, you would just stand there and wait for death. You had to find a reason to refuse. Just as she was pondering this, she heard the girl ask shyly, "Do you know Wen Hao? Do you have his contact number?" "He said he's related to the Lin family." Lin Miaomiao was dumbfounded. Of course she knew Wen Hao. Wasn't he her eldest brother, Lin Xianhao? This girl was actually asking about him. Could it be that her eldest brother's ex-lover had come looking for her? Now the person who was entangled had switched. Lin Miaomiao was seriously considering whether to admit it or just brush it off. Her eldest brother and sister-in-law were already engaged, so she couldn't let anything go wrong at this time. Unfortunately, before she could say anything, someone else couldn't wait to betray her brother. "Hey, why don't you ask Wen Hao directly? Why don't you just ask us directly? There's no point asking the little cook. She's afraid your Haozi's love dead and won't tell you anything." "Liu Yifei. You deserve a beating, don't you?" Lin Miaomiao was furious. Although she was telling the truth, it was so embarrassing to say it so bluntly. "Come on, hit me." Liu Yifei showed no fear. "Hit me hard, don't be polite," Wen Zixi said coldly. "He's counting on you beating him up so he can feign injury and avoid winter swimming, so that's how it was." Liu Yifei seemed quite quick-witted. Thankfully, she didn't fall for his trick. Lin Miaomiao felt incredibly relieved, but her expression remained expressionless. She had other things to do right now and didn't have time to argue with him. She'd wait until she got back to the Shenyu. "I do know the person you're talking about, and we're quite close," Lin Miaomiao said seriously to Wu Ying. "But I won't give you his number. If you need anything from him, just tell me directly. I'll pass it on if necessary." She ignored any confessions of love. She quite liked Ren Jiao and had no intention of changing her sister-in-law. This wasn't to question her brother's character, but after spending over 6 months together, she was well aware of Ren Jiao's straightforward and intolerant personality. It would be disastrous if she accidentally caused an irreparable misunderstanding. Lin Miaomiao was kind enough to help convey a message, but Wu Ying's face became defensive. "What is your relationship with Wen Hao? Could it be that the relationship Wen Hao was talking about was marrying the daughter of the Lin family?" Chapter 370 Love at First Sight. Wu Ying's expression changed very quickly. She was originally shy, but in the blink of an eye, she looked like she had met a rival in love. Lin Miaomiao was stunned for a moment, and soon realized that this was really her brother's peach blossom. She had to give up when she saw the difficulty, so Lin Miaomiao deliberately misled her. "Of course we have the same household registration, otherwise why would I say I would help you pass the message?" "Impossible." Wu Ying was unhappy, her face gloomy as if it was going to rain. "I asked, he clearly said he didn't have a girlfriend yet. How could he be married?" Lin Miaomiao began to murmur in her heart. Her eldest brother has always been very responsible. It is impossible for him to have a fiancée and then say he doesn't have a girlfriend outside. There must be some misunderstanding. "Did you recognize the wrong person?" Lin Miaomiao flipped through the system log and frowned when she saw that the girl was from the boundless fleet of the Zuanwu Legion. "You are from Zuanwu. You are so far away from Shaoyin Star. There is no chance of running into anyone from us." "Chenyu, no, we met at the ranking tournament last year. At that time, he and I were both level 4 mecha masters. He defeated me, and I felt unwilling to give in, so I sparred with him a few times in private. We became familiar with each other. Then, I asked him if he had a girlfriend," Wu Ying said with details, and her attitude was extremely certain. "He said no." After hearing the answer, Lin Miaomiao felt that there was only one thing to say: "This girl is stupid." The answer she asked last year is still considered correct. Does she think that the world revolves around her, and as long as she doesn't see or hear something, it will remain the same? Or does she think that the friends she met last year will fall in love with her and wait silently for the rest of their lives to meet her again? Lin Miaomiao felt as if thousands of strange beasts were running wildly through her heart. Why am I so unlucky these days? I always run into people with princess syndrome. Narcissism is a disease, it must be treated, Lin Miaomiao suggested seriously. You just finished your individual competition, so go to the hospital for a checkup when you have time. Remember to keep taking the medicine, and never give up treatment. What do you mean? Wu Ying was confused. She felt that these words were understandable when they were separated, but they were a bit profound when they were put together. The Shen Yu team members, who threw the competition aside when they saw gossip, laughed stiflingly. These words were no longer new to them because they were popular in the fleet. Lin Miaomiao didn't intend to explain, but Liu Yifei came out to make trouble. What it means is that being too narcissistic is also a mental illness. You must go to the hospital for examination and treatment. Of course, mental illness cannot be cured all at once, so you must remember to take medicine every day to control the condition. Are you scolding me? Wu Ying widened her eyes, a little unable to believe her ears. I can't help it. You're the one who deserves it, Lin Miaomiao said impatiently. The person you met last year said he didn't have a girlfriend. Can't you find one within a year? If you hurry up, you might even have a kid. Actually, Miaomiao, you've forgotten the most important thing, Liu Yifei said with a grin. Our fleet didn't even participate in the ranking tournament last year. Besides, Wen Hao is a manicurist. How could he possibly compete with her? Lin Miaomiao stared in disbelief. She had spent so much time talking to someone, and it turned out they had mistaken her for someone else? Why didn't you say so earlier? Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes at him, and also at her teammates who were enjoying the fun. She was going to complain to her boyfriend when she got home and give these idiots a good lesson. Everyone couldn't help but sneeze, a bad feeling rising in their hearts. Was there going to be retribution for just watching the fun? You lied to me, Wu Ying screamed, her emotions agitated. I remember last year, the Shen Yu fleet was announced as last. How could they have ranked without participating? This time, everyone rolled their eyes. The ranking competition was a contest for all fleets, and those who didn't meet the entry requirements were automatically ranked last. Last year, Shen Yu didn't participate, so she was last, wasn't she? But what she said might have actually happened, and she just misremembered the fleet and the name. When Zixi remembered that the White Tiger Corps had a fleet called Dust World. Could the person she was looking for be there? I suggest you go to the Dust World fleet and ask if they have the person you're looking for, Wen Zixi said softly. Our fleet didn't participate last year. Perhaps when Zixi's gentle demeanor was so convincing that Wu Ying, initially agitated, calmed down. Then I'll go to their fleet and ask. Don't lie to me. Wu Ying left, and Lin Miaomiao breathed a sigh of relief, yet also felt a sense of confusion. Even if the fleet was mistaken, what about the name and the Lin relative of Miluolin? Could someone be mistaking relatives? This question was not answered until they returned to the base in the evening. Brother Lin said, Wen Hao, the pseudonym I used when I joined the fleet, is a real person. He is a relative from your mother's side of the family. You haven't liked visiting your uncle's house in recent years, so you probably don't recognize him. I heard that he is now in the mortal fleet, so, Wen Hao is real, and his relative is real too. The girl just remembered the fleet name wrong. Well, I hope she can find her sweetheart as she wishes, Lin Miaomiao said without much sincerity. Lin Xianhao smiled. I'm afraid she would cry even if she did. Wen Hao got married in October last year. His wife is also from the mortal world. It is said that she is a new recruit. He fell in love with her as soon as she came in. He pursued her for 2 months and couldn't wait to bring her home to get married. That's not right. Aren't new recruits allowed to take leave in their first year? Lin Miaomiao was puzzled. Rules are dead, but people are alive, Lin Xianhao said with a sly smile. Wen Hao has been a veteran for several years. He finally got married, so of course he wanted to bring his wife home immediately. He went to their captain and cried for help several times, and finally he got what he wanted. Well, it turned out to be like this. Lin Miaomiao didn't know how to comment on it. That girl Wu Ying was destined to be heartbroken. But it was someone else who was heartbroken, and it had nothing to do with her. After Lin Miaomiao found out the ins and outs of the matter, she didn't want to care about it anymore. After all, this matter had nothing to do with her. Although Grandpa Lin recognized his grandson, he still stayed in Shenyu because Lin Yudang's grandmother was on the passenger ship flying from Yimen Star to Shaoyun Star. She was very excited to hear that her grandson might still be alive, and boarded the passenger ship without waiting for the exact news. It was a pity that the journey here was too long. "Invite your sister-in-law to my place for dinner tonight," Lin Miaomiao said. "I came back early today, so I'm going to cook for Grandpa." "Okay," Lin Xianhao agreed immediately. It would be a waste not to eat delicious food. Jiao likes boiled beef. Remember to make it for her. Lin Miaomiao was speechless. This was really enough for her eldest brother. He asked her to come for dinner and still kept asking for more dishes. He didn't know who liked boiled beef. Her sister-in-law obviously preferred sweet and sour spare ribs. Forget it, he was her eldest brother after all. She would give him some face and not expose her. She liked this dish anyway, so she nodded and said, "Okay, boiled beef. I hope you don't have to eat it all tonight." Lin Xianhao smiled so hard that his mouth stretched to the back of his ears. It seemed that his younger sister was in a good mood today. Chapter 371 The Unsatisfied Iceberg. Old Man Lin didn't stay at the guest house, but in his granddaughter's guest room. Lin Xianhao had originally wanted him to stay there, but he wasn't happy about it. He even whispered to his grandson, "You two should work harder so I can have my great-granddaughter soon." Although he was only staying for a few days, it would still affect his grandson's arrival. Besides, he had his own reasons for staying with his granddaughter. She was young, and he had to wait until he could calm down that dishonest boy. With the strong support of his elders, Lin Xianhao naturally smiled knowingly and didn't mention the matter again. He was indeed quite upset about someone moving into his sister's dormitory, but he was outmatched, and every attempt to cause trouble had been met with failure. He completely disregarded his future brother-in-law's reputation, unafraid of facing resistance when the marriage proposal came. Well, Lin Xianhao had to admit, his sister was incredibly capable, and had a good relationship with his wife. If the time came, he wouldn't dare act rashly. Lin Miaomiao was completely unaware of her eldest brother's intentions. In fact, she'd acquiesced to Yi Hongwen moving into the dormitory because her family didn't seem to object. Since no one objected, she simply followed a trend of the times. After all, chastity and heroic women weren't valued these days. Many people didn't even know what the word chastity actually meant. Lin Miaomiao hung up her eldest brother's video call and began making dinner. Grandpa Lin and Lin Yudang were watching TV in the living room, supposedly to foster a close relationship. She found a moment to take a look. It was about a couple of big-headed kids on an interstellar adventure to find their loved ones. It was incredibly childish, but the old man was watching it intently, occasionally discussing the plot with his grandson. Seeing her younger brother Lin's helpless, yet forced, compliment, she smiled unkindly. After all, it was just some cartoons, a way to make up for a lost childhood. It wasn't a big deal. The meal was almost ready, and Yi Hongwen and Lin Xianhao came over one after another. Grandpa Lin immediately invited his eldest grandson and his granddaughter-in-law to watch cartoons together, but ignored Yi. He must not be treated well by anyone who stole his granddaughter. Yi Hongwen said he didn't care. He didn't want to sit on the sofa and watch cartoons stupidly, so he went into the kitchen with the promise of helping to serve the dishes. Lin Miaomiao was surprised to see him come in. There are still 2 dishes that haven't been cooked yet. They have to be served later. There's no need to come in so early. It's okay, I'll stay here with you, Yi Hongwen said calmly. Whatever you want. Lin Miaomiao didn't force anyone to leave. She also knew what was going on outside. If someone wanted to stand aside and watch the cooking, then let him watch. It wouldn't cost him a piece of meat anyway. Watching the cooking was indeed boring, so Yi Hongwen brought up the topic casually. Just now, some people came to me in a group to beg for mercy, saying that they hope to change the stakes of your bet. Lin Miaomiao said without turning her head. It was Liu Yifei who took the lead. That guy started looking for excuses to shirk his responsibility after I won. Indeed, he took the lead. Yi Hongwen did not deny. He said that it is still winter and the lake is frozen. It will be very tragic to go swimming. He hopes that it can be changed to an indoor swimming pool, or some other punishment can be changed. Winter swimming is a good way to exercise. Why doesn't he understand? Lin Miaomiao shook her head inside. Why is it so difficult to urge them to exercise? They also take your kindness for granted. Yi Hongwen raised the corners of his mouth slightly, neither agreeing nor disagreeing. Winter swimming is a good way to exercise, but it has to be done step by step. If someone who is not used to winter swimming rashly goes into the water to swim 7 or 8 laps, he will probably get leg cramps or be frozen into a big ice block. By then, the infirmary will be very busy. Okay, since you came to beg for mercy, let it go. Lin Miaomiao didn't want to make a scene and send everyone to the infirmary. If it affected the team competition later, it would be over. But she was a little unhappy. That would be too easy for them. It doesn't matter. After the game, we can find a reason to teach them a lesson. Yi Hongwen comforted. I will definitely let them remember this lesson and let them know that there are some truths that cannot be told. Lin Miaomiao was upset. It would be better if she hadn't said such comforting words. They were all bad people. Why did they point out that they knew the truth couldn't be told? Get out, don't stay here and get in the way. The embarrassed and angry cook started to drive people away. Get out. Yi Hongwen was in the wrong. He touched his nose and ran to the living room to watch cartoons with everyone. He had to admit that he deserved a beating. It was just that Miaomiao had been angry for a few days. After she finally calmed down and let him in, the old man came to join in the fun. He didn't feel anything when he didn't have a girlfriend, but now he felt that he couldn't sleep well at night. What frustrated him most was that his girlfriend was only busy accompanying Grandpa. She barely spoke to him a few words every day, let alone bringing her back to his dorm for kisses and hugs. So, he was now a typical case of sexual dissatisfaction. After dinner, Lin Yudang stayed to watch cartoons with the old man, but Lin Xianhao and his girlfriend left, their relationship clinging to each other. Yi Hongwen, eyes aglow with green light, was reluctant to leave. Xiao Yi, Grandpa Lin said, if you have nothing else to do, go back to bed early. You have to get up early tomorrow, Yi Hongwen said dryly. It's too early and I won't be able to sleep. I'll stay and keep you company, Grandpa Lin snorted. This kid was full of nonsense. He thought he was too old and couldn't see his purpose. He was about to start sending them away, but Lin Miaomiao, who had just finished cleaning up the table, came out. Miaomiao, Yi Hongwen immediately went over to her, took her arm, and said attentively as if afraid that she would run away, are you tired? Let's go to the sofa and have a rest. Lin Miaomiao rolled her eyes at him. He only said it, why didn't he know to take the initiative to help clean up the table? Well, in fact, even if he took the initiative to clean up, she would not dare to accept it. Last time, he broke a few bowls when he put them in the dishwasher. He was simply an idiot. Brother and sister-in-law are gone, Lin Miaomiao sighed. He really wiped his mouth and ran away after eating, treating her place like a restaurant. Left early, Yi Hongwen was a little dissatisfied. You were still sticky when you left. Don't you know how to restrain yourself? Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but glance sideways. His tone was really sour. Was he envious and jealous? Then she received his resentful eyes. After self-reflection, it seemed that she had really ignored him recently. After a moment's thought, Lin Miaomiao said to Grandpa Lin seriously, Grandpa, I've got a training appointment with my friends, so I'll be leaving now. You and my little brother can have fun here. Grandpa Lin knew his granddaughter's thoughts well. Training with friends was fake, the real thing was a little time for just being alone with her boyfriend. He couldn't stop her too much, so he could only sigh inwardly that she was too outgoing. Go ahead. Let Yudang stay here with me tonight, Grandpa Lin said, waving a hand, hinting at her. Even during training, be careful and don't go too far. Lin Miaomiao's ears burned. This statement seemed profound. Grandpa must have read her thoughts, and she felt embarrassed and almost said she couldn't go. Fortunately, Yi Hongwen saw the opportunity and immediately pulled her out, brazenly saying to the old man, you should get some rest. I'll take good care of her. She couldn't let the duck fly away when it was already in her mouth. It was better to quickly pounce and get it in the bowl. Only Lin Yudang didn't understand the deeper meaning. He asked in confusion, why should I stay here to rest while my sister goes out for training? I still need to study on the Star Network? Old Master Lin shook his head and sighed. Your sister was taken away by a wolf tonight. She can't come back, so Grandpa can only ask you to accompany her. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 372 1v1 Rematch. With her secret weapon revealed, Lin Miaomiao no longer considered the other players in the top 25 to top 13 competition, focusing solely on participating. To her amusement and frustration, everyone this time cheered her on in unison. "Keep going, Miaomiao. The championship awaits you. Don't think I'll forget about the bet just because you're cheering me on today," Lin Miaomiao said, insisting it wasn't over yet. "No winter swimming, and we'll discuss the punishment after the competition," everyone wailed. "Little chef, is it really okay to hold a grudge like this? We promised to be lifelong friends, why can't you be more forgiving?" Lin Miaomiao was brimming with pride, believing in the idea of ruthlessly punishing others if she were the one to lose. Although she comforted herself that making it out of the top 25 was no longer a regret, she couldn't help but feel nervous. However, the interruption helped her calm down. When the system's automatic matching results came in, Lin Miaomiao was stunned. She'd advanced directly by a bye. Her luck was too good to be true. Shouldn't she enter one of those lucky draws? "That's some serious luck," Fan Lei said, his eyes red with envy. He'd already lost her strong opponent in the top 50, so he had no chance of competing in today's match. When Zixi, however, had long since grown numb to Lin Miaomiao's good fortune, he only cared about the outcome. "If Luo Cheng had made it into the top 13, our fleet would definitely have ranked high this year." At this point in the competition, only the true masters remained, with the exception of Lin Miaomiao, who had incredible luck. Naturally, the rest of the fleet had gossip about her good fortune. "If you hadn't installed that tracking bullet, I would definitely be the one advancing to the top 13, Wu Ying said sourly, "but your good luck is about to end. I don't believe you will have it by in the next game. It doesn't matter. I'm satisfied as long as I've made it to the top 13, Lin Miaomiao glanced at her sideways. "At least a level 5 mecha master like you didn't even make it to the top 25, huh? What else can you do besides showing off your luck?" Wu Ying stomped her feet in protest. "Can't you just have a good chat?" Lin Miaomiao was speechless. "What's wrong with this girl? Why don't you go to the mortal fleet to find that Wen Hao, and come to us? I found him." Wu Ying's eyes filled with tears when she mentioned this. "He's already married, and he asked who I was, saying he had no impression of me. This is indeed quite sympathetic, but what Lin Miaomiao wanted to say is, this has nothing to do with you coming here. It doesn't seem to have anything to do with us if he doesn't recognize you. It's your fault." Wu Ying sobbed. "If you hadn't beaten me, I wouldn't have had time to look for him. At least then I would have a good memory, and I wouldn't be sad." Lin Miaomiao's forehead instantly erupted in black lines. She was being blamed for this. What kind of brain circuitry did this girl have? It was truly bizarre. Only old people talk about memories. "Are you old already?" Lin Miaomiao snarled. "Nonsense." Wu Ying's expression instantly changed, baring her teeth and lashing out at her. "I'm not even 36 yet. How am I old?" 35 wasn't considered old for an interstellar being, with an average age of 150. But for Lin Miaomiao, it was old enough. In ancient times, she might have even been old enough to be her mother. So, with a stone face, Lin Miaomiao shouted, "Auntie Wu, aren't you going to the game?" The game had just begun, and the waiting area was crowded. Upon hearing this, they all looked over, their gazes fixed on Auntie Wu's face. Wu Ying was filled with shame and indignation. She had just wanted to vent before the game, but her opponent was so strong that it only made things worse. "Little cook, you are so unkind." Liu Yifei jumped out. "To be fair, even if she is much older than you, don't call her auntie. Isn't this poking at her sore spot?" The others nodded in agreement. Young people should be kind. Even if you are telling the truth, you should be more tactful. At this time, the people from the Boundless Fleet stood up to defend their team members. "Don't be so aggressive. Be more restrained and don't try to bully your Boundless people in front of me." Wu Ying was moved. Finally, someone stood up to speak for her. She used to dislike the men in the fleet for being too rude and inconsiderate. It seems that she had misunderstood. She will definitely get along well with her teammates in the future. Unfortunately, a few seconds later, her thoughts were overturned, as her teammates' words took a dramatic turn. "Even if we want to bully them, we have to wait until we're inside to watch the game. That way, no one can accuse us of not being united." With that statement, the members of the Boundless Fleet all clicked on their watch buttons, and soon disappeared from view. Wu Ying was heartbroken, unable to even bear to watch the game. She covered her face with her hands and fled from the waiting area. "Her popularity is really bad," Lin Miaomiao exclaimed in disbelief. She wasn't ugly, So could it be that her character was simply terrible? Little cook, this is a lesson learned from the past. You'd better be careful, Wen Zixi said, looking at her meaningfully. Lin Miaomiao raised an eyebrow and glared back. Are you trying to shirk your responsibility? You're the captain after all. Can you be less shameless? I've already agreed to a lighter punishment. When Zixi retreated, they were clearly in the wrong, but he accepted the loss. He only hoped the revised punishment would be lighter. After the show ended, Lin Miaomiao checked into Luo Cheng's match room and discovered the intense battle. She'd only arrived a little late, and already neither mech was intact. Luo Cheng had recently adopted a cool style, painting his mech black with a silver-white skull. The striking black mech was now missing its left arm, brandishing its sword in its right hand as it slashed at its headless and limping blue mech. If it weren't for the backup camera, the headless mech would have been doomed long ago, Lin Miaomiao lamented. But then she realized a backup camera was essential, as no one could guarantee the safety of their mech's head. While there was a backup camera, it was mounted on the mech's pod, hindering its accuracy. The blue mech's reflexes were noticeably slow, making it difficult to dodge attacks. Soon, the black mech slashed at it repeatedly, leaving its pod in a state of disrepair. The blue mech's mech pilot realized this wasn't going to work, so he decided to launch a suicidal attack. He didn't dodge the incoming broadsword, but instead, the moment it struck his mech's pod, he used all his energy to unleash his quantum cannon. The moment the cannon exploded, Lin Miaomiao's heart sank. The black mech's broadsword was still stuck in the blue mech's pod, leaving her unable to evade. She also wondered if Luo Cheng's mech still had enough energy to defend against the attack. After a few seconds, the aftermath of the quantum cannon faded, revealing a battered mech. Its silver-white skull had been shattered, its only remaining right arm and two legs gone. Only its pod and head remained. Meanwhile, the blue mech began to slowly fade away. Luo Cheng won this match, but it was a tragic and suicidal victory. When he mentioned it afterwards, his face was full of relief. Fortunately, the mecha's suicidal style of attack was not used later, otherwise I would not have enough energy. Chasing after someone with a knife consumes more energy than simply running away. If it had taken a little longer, it would be uncertain who would have won in the end. It can only be said that Luo Cheng's opponent lacked determination and was a little impatient. Chapter 373, Fight for Custody. Lin Miaomiao didn't watch the afternoon match because the old man's first love, Liang Hongyu, had arrived. She and Ren Jiao took a taxi back to the base, not to see him, but because the old man had decided to return to Milulan, and they had to go back to see him off when they had time. Yi Hongwen wanted to accompany them back to the base, but unfortunately, no one could cover his shift. Gu Qingheng was away, and the other team leaders weren't qualified, and there were already a lot of senior officials in the lounge. After a several-hour taxi ride back to the base, Lin Miaomiao and Ren Jiao didn't even enter the building, but went straight to Chengguang. Liang Hongyu wasn't a military dependent, so she couldn't enter the base, so the old man met her there. After getting off the taxi, Lin Miaomiao texted her brother to let him know they had finished lunch at Chengguang and were enjoying tea in the suite Lin Miaomiao had reserved. Then, she took her sister-in-law directly to the dormitory. Chengguang Mecha had a small staff of only a few dozen, but the dormitory was large, so everyone had a private room with a private bathroom, and the accommodations were very good. Although Lin Miaomiao didn't live here, Wei Junayan had opened up the top floor of the dormitory and reserved it for her to rest. You can also stay here during lunch breaks or on weekends. Originally, Lin Miaomiao had planned to let Mr. Lin stay here when he came over because it was beautifully decorated, with a complete bathroom and kitchen, and several guest rooms. Unfortunately, the old man insisted on joining her. Upon entering the living room, Lin Miaomiao saw the old man and a slightly older, plainly dressed woman sitting on the sofa in the living room, staring at each other. Lin Yuding was anxiously looking around. Only Lin Xianhao was relatively relaxed, drinking juice and watching the show. Miaomiao and Jiao are here. Old man Lin breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing his granddaughter and her wife. Come and help Grandpa convince this stubborn old woman. She's determined to take Yudeng back to Yiman Star. In reality, with the Lin family's influence, taking Lin and Yudeng back would have been easy. Liang Hongyu wouldn't have been able to stop him. But after all, they had been close, and old man Lin didn't want to use his power to force her into submission. Liang Hongyu clearly understood this, so she wasn't worried at all. She simply insisted, He's my grandson, born to my daughter, and I raised my daughter. It's none of your business. Naturally, he's my grandson, that's because you didn't tell me she existed, Old Man Lin said, still furious. He had a beautiful, lovely daughter, but she left before he even knew her, and left her in pain. Old Man Lin married 2 years after Liang Hongayu's departure. If she had spoken, the outcome would likely have been different. Liang Hongyu clearly knew she was in the wrong, so she didn't argue, only refusing to give in. She's the only relative I have, and you have so many children and grandchildren. Why are you competing with me for her? Aren't you afraid your children and grandchildren will object and secretly abuse you? Tang, Lin Xianhao, watching the show, sighed. He'd been listening for quite some time, and the old lady only had these few words. He'd defended himself and made promises, but the old lady wouldn't listen, completely ignoring him. As a polite man, Lin Xianhao couldn't speak harshly to his elders. So he was ultimately reduced to watching the show from the sidelines. So, after his wife and sister returned, he felt the old lady would soon be humiliated, as these two were no pushovers. His idea was correct. Lin Miaomiao, hearing the old lady's repeated emphasis, flew into rage and said rudely, "Mrs. Liang, I see you're not doing very well financially right now. Do you think you can support me?" Liang Hongyu was stunned. Of course she didn't. She'd only been able to support her daughter back then because she was young and had easy access to work, but even then, she hadn't given her daughter a good life. Now that he was older and struggling to find a good job, how could he possibly support his grandson? She dared to fight for custody only because Lin Kati knew about Lin Yudang's existence. As an upright and responsible man, he certainly wouldn't stand by and watch them struggle without offering a helping hand. It was a good plan, but Liang Hongyu couldn't bring herself to say it out loud. What if she was misunderstood as trying to extort the Lin family's credit points to live a comfortable life? Saying she could support her child would be a blatant lie. The clothes she was wearing were of poor quality and looked like they'd been washed and worn for years. For a moment, Liang Hongyu didn't know how to respond and could only remain silent. However, no one present was stupid, they certainly understood her intentions. Even Lin Yudang had noticed, but since he wasn't familiar with Liang Hongyu, he assumed his grandmother was using him to profit, and his eyes grew even more hostile towards her. After all, they'd been together for a while, so Lin Miaomiao easily realized that Lin Xiaodi had misunderstood. But she didn't intend to explain now. Who he would live with in the end depended on his own wishes. She hoped that Lin Xiaodi would be more hostile to Liang Hongyu. At worst, she could explain it to him later. Thinking of this, Lin Miaomiao slowly walked over to sit next to Lin Xiaodi, patting his clasped hand on his knee as a gesture of comfort. Turning to Liang Hongyu, she said, "Xiaodi had a hard life before. Don't you want him to have a better life? What's more, he hasn't attended a formal school and needs a special teacher to help him with his homework. This is a huge expense, and I don't think you can afford it, Ms. Liang." Liang Hongyu understood this, but she longed for a family member to be by her side. After hearing the tragic news about her daughter, she lost her motivation for life. It was only later that the little girl from the neighborhood often came to accompany her, which helped her to cheer up. She was just an ordinary person, almost 80 years old, halfway through her life, and she didn't know how many years she had left. After hearing the news from her family, how could she bear to give up her custody of him? In the end, the desire to have family by her side prevailed. Liang Hongyu stirred, looked at Old Man Lin with a sorrowful face, and said, "I've never asked you for anything. I just don't want to spend my next life alone. I want my only family to be by my side. Can't you help me?" Old Man Lin hesitated. Liang Hongyu was a strong-willed person. Otherwise, she wouldn't have turned around and left because people laughed at her for being so successful. If she hadn't been too old and couldn't find a good job, she probably wouldn't have begged him so humbly, if she had really insisted. Noticing that Old Man Lin was tempted, Lin Miaomiao couldn't help but curl her lips. No matter how nice the talk was, he still wanted custody but couldn't afford to raise the child. If they had to pay child support, they wouldn't get any money. This business was too unprofitable. She wouldn't do it. "Ms. Liang," Lin Miaomiao interrupted what Grandpa Lin was about to say and told her coldly, "There are some things I'm afraid you don't understand clearly. Grandpa's salary was used to support the orphans of martyrs, and my father is supporting him now, therefore, Grandpa Lin actually couldn't afford the high amount of child support. If Lin Yuhei refused to agree, her plan would not work at all. Chapter 374 It's wrong to hide private money. Liang Hongyu decided to leave immediately, unable to wait a moment longer. She grabbed the small backpack she had brought with her and prepared to leave. Mr. Lin couldn't stop her, so he decided to take Lin Yudeng with him, saving her the trouble of walking to the distant platform to catch the bus. Mr. Lin had a space button, so he could store everything and leave at any time. Lin Yudeng wanted to go back to Shen Yu's dormitory to pack some clothes, but was stopped. He knew he would need to buy some more clothes once he got to the Lin family, and bringing his current clothes back would be useless. Grandpa Lin said he was leaving and he was leaving. Lin Miaomiao and the others looked at each other and didn't try to stop him. They just said they would take them to the passenger ship field, but they were rejected. The old man said, "I'm still young. I have a flying car of my own. Why do I need you to take me there? Besides, flying cars are all automatic. There's no need for you to go through the trouble." Seeing that her grandfather was determined, Lin Miaomiao didn't try to persuade him. She just took out a smaller space button that she had used before and handed it to Lin Yudeng. "The elders will definitely buy you a lot of clothes and gifts when you go home. This space button is a good size, so I'll give it to you, sister." "The space button is too expensive." Lin Yudeng retracted her hand behind her back and refused to take it. "You'd better keep it for yourself." "Take it." Lin Miaomiao pulled his hand out forcefully and placed the space button in his palm. "I replaced this one. Don't mind it because it's old." After hearing that it was replaced, Lin Yudeng accepted it. This space button was in the shape of a pendant with a sturdy platinum chain on it. This chain was bought later, and she had been using the original chain all the time. Lin Yudeng put the space button on the back of his neck and the group went out. As soon as they came downstairs, they saw Wei Junian waiting outside the elevator. "Boss," Wei Junian said with a smile, and then greeted everyone else one by one. "Manager Wei, why are you here?" Lin Miaomiao looked at him in surprise. Wei Junian took out an ordinary green jade bracelet and handed it to her, saying jokingly, "Of course I came here to deliver something and to show my presence." Lin Miaomiao frowned, and after taking the bracelet, she also joked, "Since the things have been delivered and your presence has been shown, it's time for you to leave." "Got it, boss." Wei Junian nodded seriously. "Goodbye, boss." After Wei Junian left, Liang Hongyu asked in surprise, "The boss here is Miaomiao?" "Yes," Lin Xianhao said with a grin. "That's why brother Yudang is not afraid of going hungry with her. I always cling to my sister's thighs to ask for pocket money." Ren Jiao got angry when she heard this, and reached out to twist his ears. "I was wondering why you never use up your pocket money. Every time you hand it in, you have money to buy all kinds of things you don't need the next day. Dad clearly said that he would give you 100,000 every month in the future, so that you won't have money to learn bad things." As for the 100,000 credit points that were withheld, they were naturally put into her name for the two of them to use as living expenses. Moreover, after getting engaged, she also had a monthly allowance of 200,000 yuan. Ren Jiao actually refused, but Lin's father insisted on giving it to her. So she could only accept it embarrassedly. "Well, wife, how about I report to you about the pocket money tonight? There are so many people here now, you have to give me some face." Lin Xianhao grabbed Ren Jiao's hand with a playful smile to prevent it from amusing his ears. Grandpa Lin was so disappointed with her. She was so stupid that she was found out by her wife for hiding her private money. Why didn't she avoid it when buying things? Lin Miaomiao's eyes lit up. It seemed that her elder brother was not honest even after getting engaged. She actually concealed the dividends from his restaurant. This was a big handle. "Sister-in-law, I need to tell you something," Lin Miaomiao said, about to dishonor her elder brother. Actually, I had a surprise for you tonight. Since you're back early, I'll tell you when we get back to our room." Lin Xianhao interrupted, pleading with her with his eyes for some grace. Lin Miaomiao shrugged, deciding to give him a break for his confession, considering he was her brother. A man hiding some money wasn't a big deal, but a man hiding a large sum wasn't, and she wouldn't defend him, even if he was her own brother. Grandma Liang, this is a small space button. It doesn't have much space inside. You can use it to store things. I assume you still have some of your aunt's old things. Bring it back as a keepsake." Lin Miaomiao handed over the bracelet, changing the subject and helping her elder brother out. Liang Hongyu instinctively wanted to refuse. Even the cheapest space button cost tens of thousands of credits, so how could she accept it? But Lin Miaomiao's words resonated deeply with her. It was better to keep her daughter's old things with her. Seeing her hesitation, Old Master Lin interrupted, "Just take it if I tell you to. Miaomiao doesn't need a space ring like this. She also wants to keep her aunt's things safe. Oh, and if she has any photo albums or videos, please send some to Tang Tang." As for himself, he didn't want it. His daughter hadn't even had time to see them, and having photos and videos would only add to his sadness. With Old Master Lin's words, Liang Hongyu accepted the space ring. "Thank you, I'll send the photos to Tang Tang later." Then she remembered that she hadn't added her grandson's video number yet. "Tang Tang, please add my video number." Adding video calls face-to-face is also very simple. Turn on the docking function of the communicator and search for nearby numbers. As long as the other party has the docking function turned on, they will be able to find them and then save them directly. After adding their numbers, the two prepared to depart for the passenger ship. Before boarding the shuttle, Lin Miaomiao stuffed Lin Xiaodi with a bunch of snacks. Riding on the shuttle was too boring, so eating some sunflower seeds was a good way to pass the time. As for Liang Hongyu, she ignored her concerns. Long-distance shuttles have restaurants, so you won't go hungry. As the shuttle with Grandpa Lin and the other two drove away, Lin Miaomiao, seeing it was still early, decided to go back to Chen Guang's dormitory to rest for a while, then visit a mental training room. Lately, she'd felt like she was using her mental power more easily, so she wanted to see if she'd broken through a small bottleneck. As they turned back to the dormitory, Lin Miaomiao seemed to recall something and said to her elder brother, "Give your surprise to my sister-in-law here, so we don't cause a scene back home. After all, the soundproofing here is better, so you won't have to worry about me waking up." Hiding secret funds was a big deal, especially since it was from the competition. Lin Miaomiao had reason to believe that a big fight was about to break out. Her sister-in-law had unilaterally launched a war to tame the good husband of the interstellar world, and her elder brother certainly couldn't fight back. "Alright, let's just settle it here and go back to avoid embarrassment," Ren Jiaojiao agreed. If her teammates knew she couldn't control her husband's money, they would surely ridicule her. Lin Xianhao, with a look of despair on his face, was dragged back by his wife. He didn't dare to struggle, and even cooperated to reduce the weight. However, as he walked, he looked back and scorned his sister, whose side was she on, betraying his elder brother? Lin Miaomiao made a provocative face at brother Lin and mouthed, "We're all family, so of course I'll side with what's best for me." Lin Xianhao was speechless. He began to sympathize with Yi Hongwen. He wondered if his future brother-in-law's credit points would be enough to buy a few bottles of low-grade nutritional supplements. Chapter 375 1v1 Rematch. The soundproofing in Chengguang dormitory was truly excellent. Lin Miaomiao heard no strange noises after entering her bedroom. After resting for 2 hours, she headed to the level 4 mental power training room. She hadn't been in the training room for a test during her intensive training, and it had been over a month since she last visited. She felt a bit uneasy. If she could truly break through her small bottleneck, it would be a great thing, bringing her one step closer to becoming a level 5 mecha master. She emptied her mind and began to slowly illuminate the small white dot. At first, the speed was rapid, and she didn't hesitate, letting her mental power flow continuously. Within 10 minutes, she had reached the small bottleneck. She slowed down and tentatively swam towards the next white dot, but it didn't work. The light that had just lit up dimmed. After repeated practice, with no results, Lin Miaomiao hesitated. Was her sense of perception wrong? Reluctantly, she tried a few more times, but the results were the same. Finally, she gave up. Although she hadn't broken through the small bottleneck, she didn't plan to go back. Since she had nothing else to do, she continued practicing the previous part. Speeding up the lighting at the front would be a good idea. Breaking through isn't easy, otherwise, the fleet wouldn't have so many level 4 mecha pilots, and level 5 mecha pilots are even rarer. If she truly broke through her small bottleneck today, Lin Miaomiao would relax, stop thinking about a breakthrough, and start practicing seriously. Lin Miaomiao's luck ran out in the 13-7 match. Not only did she not receive a bye, but she also faced Kang Qingmu, the top level 5 mecha pilot of the Jinghong fleet and the most popular champion. She experienced what it meant to be finished the moment she entered. As it happened, After the match list was released, everyone lamented her incredible luck. They were either the luckiest, like the Bai, or the unluckiest, meeting Kang Kingmu, and they gloated, suggesting, "Don't fight back, just wait it out." Of course, Lin Miaomiao refused. Even if she was bound to lose, she couldn't lose so badly. Standing there and waiting for death was the behavior of those without ambition. After rolling her eyes at her mocking teammates, she didn't have time to say anything before the match began. Kang Kingmu, the champion with the highest hopes for victory, possessed a rather ordinary mech, a dull, level 5 suit. At first glance, it didn't leave a particularly impressive impression. However, Lin Miaomiao spotted the growth symbol in the shadow of its right ear, and a wave of dismay washed over her. Growth mechas are capable of recognizing their masters, often accompanying mech pilots throughout their careers. Their included intelligent computers are highly user-friendly, and with practice and binding, they become highly compatible with their masters. She relied on her rapport with Aoksa to be confident of a decent defeat. However, now that her opponent was also using a growth mech, her advantage was gone. With a sigh, Lin Miaomiao decided that since she couldn't delay her defeat, she might as well leave him a souvenir, perhaps a tracking bullet. With this in mind, Lin Miaomiao abandoned her cold weapons for show, gathering her energy and launching a tracking bullet. With a bit of luck, she could even blow up his mech's pod. Who knows, she could even dominate a one-on-one match with this tracking bullet. Of course, this was just a wishful thinking. No matter how powerful the tracking bullets were, they were useless if they couldn't catch up. As for her, after using up all the tracking bullets, her energy card was almost depleted, and even her movement speed slowed down. My expectations aren't high. I just hope to blow off an arm or a leg of that mech, Lin Miaomiao muttered to herself, directing Aoksa to retreat a distance. Kang Kingmu had originally unsheathed his machete, ready to play with his opponent. Since this opponent was not only a girl under 20, but also about to become a relative of their captain, he wanted to make her lose gracefully, to avoid the captain's disdain and harassment. Unexpectedly, his opponent, upon boarding the mech, didn't draw her greatsword anymore, but instead fired a tracking bullet. She quickly sheathed her machete and maneuvered the mech upwards, dodging the attack. Since Lin Miaomiao had already used this skill before, Kang Kingmu didn't land after dodging the tracking bullet. Instead, he kept his eyes on it and charged forward. 2 seconds later, he saw it make a sharp turn, quickly reverse course, and head back towards him. What a great thing, Kang Kingmu couldn't help but exclaim. If it were any faster, I'd be unable to dodge it. After the tracking bullet first appeared, everyone had considered ways to defeat it. It was obvious that a tracking bullet consumed a lot of energy, so it had enough energy to chase you relentlessly. To avoid being hit by it, one had to either maintain a high speed until its energy was almost depleted, or find a way to lead it into a blind spot and let it hit something else. Kang Kingmu naturally didn't want to be hit. Even if it meant sacrificing an arm or a leg, he didn't want to be chased around. So he decided to lead it into a blind spot and destroy it. Kang Kingmu then raced in his mech, but after several laps, he couldn't find a suitable opportunity. However, seeing the silver-white mech parked to the side, he had a new idea. Since you fired the tracking bullet, I'll just give it back to you. He wondered with amusement what the little girl's expression would be like after his own tracking bullet ended her match, as he directed the mech towards Aoksu. Lin Miaomiao watched the pursuit drama for a while, also looking for an opportunity to exploit. However, she didn't expect her opponent to suddenly remember her, so she assumed they were planning to finish her off first and quickly retreated to the side. However, her energy was running low, and her escape speed was very slow. It didn't take long before she was easily caught up. Lin Miaomiao was frustrated. She wanted to stay on the field for a while, but they didn't even give her this opportunity. What made her even more depressed was yet to come. A gray mecha caught up with her and shot up with a whoosh. Before leaving, it left behind a seemingly teasing remark, "Little sister, I don't dare to accept your big gift. Please return it." Haha, and then nothing happened. She watched helplessly as the tracking missile she had sent out blew up her mecha cabin, which had no defense energy. Then, her vision went black and she retreated to the waiting area. She lost and was sent out of the competition field by her own tracking missile. The team members who were watching the game surrounded her and laughed at her, pounding the ground. "Little chef, you have come to this day. It's really retribution. Let's see if you still need tracking missiles in the future." "Go away," Lin Miaomiao said, putting her hands on her hips and sneering at them. If you don't leave now, the menu for dinner will be bitter melon scrambled eggs, bitter melon with meat, and stir-fried bitter melon. Oh, and there's bitter melon soup. Little chef, you are so unreasonable. Everyone instantly turned bitter-faced and left without stopping. Lin Miaomiao pouted and found an open space to summon the mecha. Looking at the mecha cabin that had been blown to pieces with a big hole, she angrily clicked on the mecha's restoration button, but in her heart she was silently cursing her opponent. You evil-minded guy, I hope you will laugh until your front teeth break. Also, don't run into me in real life, otherwise, my boyfriend will kill you. End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.